The mysterious Mount Asahidake SOS incident. The Mount Asahidake SOS incident remains one of the most mysterious and unsettling cases in Japanese wilderness history. Occurring in the rugged terrain of Daisetsuzan National Park, Hokkaido, this strange event brought together a puzzling combination of disappearances, human remains, a desperate plea for help recorded on tape, and an inexplicable SOS sign made from massive tree trunks, all pointing toward a tragedy that still has unanswered questions, even decades later. On the afternoon of July 24, 1989, two Tokyo men who had been hiking the popular route from Mount Kurodake to Mount Asahidake went missing. The area is known for its harsh, uneven terrain, with dense underbrush and steep slopes. At some point during their hike, the two men became lost and veered off course, descending Mount Asahi toward the Chubetsu River. A search operation was launched by Hokkaido police using helicopters. During the aerial search, authorities spotted a massive SOS sign constructed from 19 birch trees, each approximately 5 meters in length, arranged clearly in the open. Shortly thereafter, the two hikers were rescued safely 2 to 3 kilometers north of the SOS sign. Initially, it was believed that they had created the sign themselves. However, when questioned, both men claimed they had no knowledge of it. This revelation led the police to believe that someone else had made the sign and might still be in distress. The next day, another helicopter search was launched in the surrounding area. What they discovered added an eerie twist to the story. Near the SOS sign, they found human bones that showed signs of having been damaged by animals. Some fractures on the bones appeared to have occurred before the individual had passed. Nearby, authorities found a shallow hole in the ground, just large enough for a person to lie in, containing a strange assortment of items. These included 4 cassette tapes, a tape recorder, a backpack, a human skull, various amulets, a pair of men's basketball shoes, 2 cameras, a notebook, and the driver's license of a man named Kenji Iwamura. Iwamura was a 25-year-old office worker from Konan in Aichi Prefecture who had disappeared on July 10, 1984, after embarking on a solo hike to Mount Asahidake. When Iwamura didn't return to work a week after his planned trip, his parents contacted the police. A search was conducted at the time, but no trace of him was found. It wasn't until 5 years later that any clue about his whereabouts emerged. With the discovery of the bones, a cassette tape, and his personal belongings, investigators began to piece together the disturbing possibility that Iwamura had been the one who had constructed the SOS sign. However, this led to further confusion. An initial analysis of the bones suggested they belonged to a woman between the ages of 20 and 40. This finding introduced the possibility that a third person had been in the area, despite there being no records of a missing woman in Asahidake around that time. Investigators were forced to consider the theory that Iwamura may not have been alone. Further complicating the matter, one of the cassette tapes contained a recording of a man desperately calling for help. In the tape, a young man's voice could be heard yelling for 2 minutes, crying out for rescue from a cliff where he had become stuck. He referenced the place where he had previously seen a helicopter and shouted that he could not move due to deep underbrush. The rest of the tapes featured theme songs from anime series like Macross and Magical Princess Minky Momo. Interestingly, one of the cassette cases had been made from a cut-out image of Magical Princess Minky Momo, further suggesting a youthful, creative presence in the wilderness. The tape raised even more questions. It was never confirmed whether the voice belonged to Iwamura. Although acquaintances confirmed that he had carried similar cassette tapes and wore the same size basketball shoes as those found at the site, his parents were unable to verify whether the recorded voice was indeed his. Another point of confusion came from the SOS sign itself. The sign, which was clearly visible in aerial photographs dating back to September 1987, appeared to have been constructed with great effort. Investigators believed it would have taken at least 2 full days and considerable strength to move and arrange the birch logs. However, autopsy reports indicated that the individual whose remains were found was in poor physical condition at the time, so much so that it seemed improbable he could have managed to create the sign alone. Adding to the mystery, no cutting tool or axe was ever found in the vicinity, and no witnesses ever came forward to say they had seen Iwamura or anyone else building the sign. The area where the incident occurred is infamously difficult to navigate. A rock formation on Mount Asahi known as Kinko Iwa, or Safe Rock, is used as a navigation landmark. But a nearby similar rock known as Nise Kinko Iwa, or Fake Safe Rock, often misleads hikers. Those who fall from the latter can end up trapped in an unforgiving area filled with deep sasa grass and steep cliffs. This region is believed to be the exact place where the SOS sign was constructed and where Iwamura's remains were eventually found. In fact, shortly after the discovery, a media team attempting to film a report on the location had to be rescued themselves after becoming trapped. Eventually, on February 28, 1990, authorities revised their original analysis and confirmed that the skeletal remains were, in fact, male. This brought closure to the earlier theory that an unidentified woman had also perished in the area. Still, many questions remain. Was Iwamura truly alone? Did he build the SOS sign before becoming too weak to survive? And was the voice on the recording his final message to the world, or simply a desperate, unintentional cry caught on tape? To this day, the mystery of who created the SOS sign, how it was constructed, and the exact circumstances surrounding Kenji Iwamura's tragic fate remain unsolved. The Mount Asahidake SOS incident continues to intrigue and disturb those who study wilderness survival, missing persons cases, and unexplained events. It stands as a chilling reminder of the dangers of isolation in the mountains and the haunting gaps that can remain even after discoveries are made. The mysterious case of Francisca Kadanas Marquez. The disappearance of Francisca Kadanas Marquez remains one of the most haunting and unexplained mysteries in recent Spanish history. A quiet and deeply unsettling event, it shook the small, close-knit town of Hornacos in the region of Extremadura to its core. On the night of May 9, 2017, Francisca, a devoted wife and mother of two, vanished in less than a minute while walking a mere 50 meters down a well-lit alleyway. The sudden and total absence of any physical evidence has left investigators and her family puzzled for years. Born on November 13, 1957, Francisca had lived her entire life in Hornacos, a town of just 3,500 people. She was known as a reserved yet warm person, trusted and liked by her neighbors. Her life revolved around her family. She did not use social media, had no connections outside her hometown, and led what most would consider an ordinary life. She lived with her husband, a local farmer, and their two sons in a modest home in the heart of the town. On the night of her disappearance, Francisca had been caring for the 3-year-old daughter of a friend. When the child's parents came to pick her up around 11:15 in the evening, Francisca stepped outside to say goodbye, walking with them toward their car. Although their car was parked on a different street, it was connected to her home by a short alleyway, illuminated by functioning streetlights. Before parting, Francisca assured her family she would return in just a few minutes to prepare dinner. The last confirmed sighting of her came as her friends watched her from their rearview mirror, entering the alleyway. Simultaneously, her son, who had stayed behind at home, began to grow uneasy when she did not return. After just minutes passed, he contacted the family she had just seen to ask if perhaps she had decided to leave with them. When he learned she had not, he raised the alarm immediately. What followed was one of the fastest mobilizations of a missing person case in the region. Within 10 minutes, police were informed and search parties were organized. The alleyway was thoroughly examined, but investigators found no signs of a struggle or any evidence pointing to a voluntary disappearance. Her personal belongings, phone, wallet, medication, were all left behind at home. She was last seen wearing casual clothes, black leggings, a pink short-sleeved t-shirt, and black Nike sneakers. Search efforts became exhaustive. Police scoured nearby wells with cameras, over 50 in total, in case she had somehow fallen into one. Sniffer dogs searched the nearby mountains and swamps. Helicopters were brought in to sweep the surrounding countryside. If a house was abandoned, it was entered and checked. In homes with willing residents, thorough searches were conducted, and despite every effort, not a single trace of Francisca was found. Authorities quickly ruled out the idea of her becoming lost. She was familiar with the area, and the alleyway she disappeared in was both short and straightforward. The working theory became one of foul play, likely carried out by someone with intimate knowledge of the area. However, with no surveillance cameras in the alley, and no eyewitnesses beyond those who saw her entering the pathway, identifying a suspect proved difficult. The last person to see Francisca was a 33-year-old seasonal worker, originally from the Dominican Republic. He was heading to his car and greeted her casually as they passed each other. She returned the greeting and continued toward her home. Based on where this brief exchange took place, she would have needed only about 20 more steps to reach her front door. Due to the timing and the fact that he was the final person to see her, police investigated the man closely. His criminal record drew further attention. However, multiple witnesses placed him at a local bar shortly after the encounter, and his alibi was considered solid. Still, rumors circulated throughout the town, with unfounded claims labeling him with everything from criminal activity to extremist affiliations. The harassment became so severe that he eventually relocated. By 2019, with no leads, no suspects, and no further evidence, the case was closed. But in 2024, the Unidad Central Operativa, known for solving other difficult cases in the region, reopened the investigation. The move brought renewed hope to Francisca's family. The Unidad Central Operativa had previously succeeded in solving the disappearance of Manuela Chavero, whose case shared similar regional and circumstantial elements. That success inspired the belief that they might be able to do the same for Francisca. An anonymous tip line was established with the cooperation of the family and authorities. The hope is that time may have softened the fear or reluctance of any potential witnesses who might now feel safe enough to share information. Even the smallest lead could help bring closure to a mystery that has haunted the people of Hornacos for years. To this day, the sudden and unexplained vanishing of Francisca Kadanas Marquez remains unsolved. Her family continues to wait, holding on to hope that answers will one day come. Paul Michael Lmetra disappears in the middle of a crowd. On the 4th of July, back in 2012, in the small town of Seward, Alaska, the 97th annual marathon race, known as Mount Marathon, was well underway when one of the runners, a man by the name of Paul Michael Lmetra, appeared to have suddenly vanished while standing out in the middle of a crowd of fellow runners. Regarded as one of the most bizarre and unexplainable disappearances of Alaska, Mount Marathon officials have been struggling to answer the cause of the disappearance of Paul Lmetra and how it would have been possible for one of the most experienced runners to have vanished while taking a routine exercise through a familiar area. According to the Missing 411 report, Paul Michael Lmetra was 66 years old at the time of his disappearance and was considered to be one of the most experienced runners of the event. Even more peculiar, the Mount Marathon race is considered to be one of the oldest and most safe races across the United States, with the marathon first beginning back in 1915 without a single known injury or disappearance in the 97 years since its conception. The marathon is described as being a 3-mile combination run that takes runners up Seward, Alaska's highest point of elevation of 3,000 feet, before coming back down to the base of elevation at sea level. The starting point for the race begins within downtown of Seward, located at the corner of 4th Avenue and Adams Street, winds up to the nearby mountain summit, and winds back down to end at the corner of 4th Avenue and Washington Street. After spending the entire year preparing for the race, Paul told his family that he had planned on taking his time with the race, hoping only to get a respectable time in placing, and not concerning himself with racing against the other runners and possibly hurting himself. Considering the fact that Paul was described as being incredibly physically fit by his co-workers at the military joint base Elmendorf-Richardson, it seemed trivial to his family that he would be able to finish the race with a solid time. Additionally, the fact that Paul worked as a counselor at the military base focused on helping guys leaving the military reintegrate into civilian life, assisting with health, and preparing for every possible problem they might occur, helps to demonstrate that Paul Lmetra was known for being thoroughly prepared for any situation he may have found himself in, as well as the fact that had he been suffering from anything, he would have received the proper help he needed. Unfortunately for Paul, shortly after registering for the Mount Marathon race and receiving his bib number 548, any sign of him would completely disappear off of the face of the earth only a few hours after the race began. According to the official search and rescue timeline, it was at around 3 p.m. that Paul's family claimed to have last seen him as he was standing at the starting line when the race began. Several hours later, sometime around 6 p.m, An official race timing crew had spotted Paul ascending the mountain and decided to do a short interview with him to be used in the article for the race later in the day. Given the fact that he appeared to have been in great shape and quite talkative, the lead timer asked Paul several questions concerning the difficulty of the race and how he felt. Paul, without hesitation, stated that he was feeling great and was hoping to finish the race in the next few hours at a brisk walking pace. 5 days later, on the 9th of July, the officials at the race would publish the following article surrounding the encounter. According to the chamber, a race timing crew stationed at the top of the mountain began its descent about 5:45 in the afternoon. The lead timer, who was not named in the statement, spoke with Paul at about 6 when he was nearing the mountaintop. The timer had reported that Mr. Lmetra verbally confirmed that he wanted to continue. After reviewing the segment, it was believed that Paul was the last runner to reach the mountain and should have been within view of a group of other runners and officials watching over the race. Several minutes after Paul was last seen by the race timing crew, a bizarre accident would take place on the descent of the mountain trail, though few details surrounding the event are known. According to official reports, 2 runners had fallen in an area that caused them to have suffered from serious injuries, though the extent of the injuries are not known. Worried about losing their proud history of maintaining one of the safest races, the Chamber of Commerce of Seward immediately began investigating the area, but were unable to find a sufficient answer for why the runners bizarrely turned off into a random area and seemed to have jumped from a mountain's ledge. The 2 runners, having suffered injuries at 2 separate locations in 2 separate incidents, were unable to remember why they had fallen in the given areas. It was at around 8 in the evening when Paul's wife contacted the race officials and let them know that Paul had not come back from the run and was expected to be the only runner left on the trail. She then explained that Paul had been expected to finish the race at around 7:30 in the evening and was running more than 30 minutes later than his expected finishing time. Due to the strange nature of the previous runner's injuries, the race officials did not hesitate another moment and contacted the Seward Fire Department and the Alaska State Troopers to begin an immediate search of the mountain to locate Paul and return him safely to his family. Oddly enough, despite several hundred volunteers working over the course of the next several hours, checking every pathway of the mountain, the teams were unable to locate any sign of Paul. Even after employing the use of helicopters equipped with special thermal imaging and state-of-the-art cameras, no new discoveries were made. Oddly enough, the search teams claimed that as soon as they were dispatched in the area, a sudden heavy fog blanketed the entire mountain. Throughout their search, the teams came across 2 black bears that ran away at the sound of people, but no other form of wildlife was seen in the area. After a team of search and rescue dogs were following Paul's scent, but then suddenly seemed to lose it halfway down the mountain, search and rescue efforts were strained beyond their limits, and no new ideas to help recover Paul were available. On the 9th of July, back in 2012, the local newspaper, the Alaska Dispatch, ran an article that described the search efforts with the following paragraph. Hundreds of volunteers have been involved in the rescue operation, including the Alaska Mountain Rescue, Nordic Ski Patrol, Alaska Search and Rescue Dogs, Bear Creek Volunteer Fire Department, National Park Service, Seward Police and Fire Department, the Air National Guard, Alaska State Troopers, and many Seward residents, as well as racers who returned to Seward to help with the search. No sign of Paul Michael was found over the week's search, and to this day, no one knows what could have happened to the runner. The official explanation behind Paul's disappearance claims that as Paul was ascending the mountain late into the night, his poor eyesight may have caused him to confuse the running pathway with a previous year's running pathway, as the Mount Marathon race was known for changing its paths every year to provide veterans with a new challenge, and could have caused him to have run off the side of the mountain in an area where his body has yet to be found. A mysterious collection of emails have been leaked, revealing the United States are asking for the resurrection chamber of Gilgamesh. A mysterious leak involving a collection of emails said to have been retrieved through a Freedom of Information Act request aimed at the US State Department has stirred intense speculation online. These emails reportedly contained an unusual inquiry, one that referenced the resurrection chamber of Gilgamesh, the legendary Sumerian ruler, along with information regarding the location of his remains and the resting places of the Nephilim, beings described in ancient texts as giants or divine hybrids. The documents quickly gained attention across social media platforms and alternative news outlets, captivating people around the world. Many were drawn in by the idea that the US government might be in possession of knowledge or evidence tied to ancient legends, relics, or technologies that could dramatically alter our understanding of human history. For many, the suggestion that such topics were discussed within government circles validated long-standing theories about hidden knowledge and classified research into humanity's forgotten past. The name Gilgamesh alone, coupled with references to the Nephilim, was enough to spark a flurry of interest from researchers. The group known as Anonymous, which has become widely recognized for exposing secretive operations and uncovering sensitive material, is often associated with political transparency or revealing corporate misconduct. But in December of 2018, this alleged release was unlike their typical content. Instead of focusing on modern-day wrongdoing, the leaked material dove deep into the realms of ancient lore and unexplained phenomena. One email in particular, said to be part of the released cache, included a request from an undisclosed party seeking files related to a supposed resurrection chamber associated with Gilgamesh. The ancient hero, whose story is recorded in the Epic of Gilgamesh, is considered one of the oldest literary figures in history. According to the mythology of ancient Mesopotamia, Gilgamesh was part divine and part human, and his tale centers around quests for immortality and divine wisdom. Though historians generally accept that a historical king named Gilgamesh may have once ruled over the city-state of Uruk, the notion of a resurrection chamber tied to his name ventures far beyond accepted academic thought. Such a concept does not appear in any known Sumerian or Babylonian texts, nor has archaeological evidence been uncovered to suggest that such a chamber ever existed. Nevertheless, the theory is particularly compelling to those who believe that ancient civilizations may have wielded knowledge or tools far beyond what is currently acknowledged by science. Adding another layer to the mystery was the mention of the Nephilim. These beings are most famously mentioned in the Book of Genesis, where they are described as the offspring of divine beings and human women. Many interpretations suggest they were giants, while others consider them to be spiritually unique entities whose origins remain unclear. For centuries, theologians and historians have debated their meaning, while some theorists have proposed that they played a role in constructing ancient structures or had access to lost knowledge. Rumors have persisted that German archaeologists once believed they had located the tomb of Gilgamesh, and not long after, military operations took place in the region. Following the Iraq invasion, the US reportedly established a presence in the ancient city of Babylon, with speculation that they were not just there for strategic purposes, but also to secure ancient artifacts. Reports emerged that significant relics were taken, buildings were constructed within the historical site, and helicopter pads were installed, raising questions about the true nature of the mission. The reference to the Nephilim in the leaked communication gave rise to even more speculation. Some believe these beings were part of a hybrid lineage that predates recorded history, and that their burial sites may contain remnants of technology or wisdom from a forgotten age. If the US government was indeed searching for or researching these locations, it could suggest that there is far more to the human story than what is currently taught. The involvement of the State Department, if accurate, raises deeper questions. Some have theorized that such emails could be tied to confidential research initiatives involving ancient civilizations, or possibly even programs dedicated to locating and examining long-lost artifacts. Others suggest that these inquiries could be linked to ongoing efforts to uncover ancient technologies capable of transforming contemporary scientific understanding. For believers in suppressed history and classified discoveries, the leak represented a form of vindication. The idea that powerful institutions may possess evidence of long-forgotten chapters in human history, hidden relics, or even encounters with otherworldly entities has been a central claim within communities for decades. The content of the email aligned with these beliefs and reignited conversations that had long existed on the periphery of mainstream discourse. The mysterious note and vanishing of Granger Taylor. Granger Taylor was an eccentric yet brilliant Canadian mechanic whose mysterious disappearance in 1980 has remained one of the most curious and haunting unsolved cases in Canadian history. Known for his mechanical genius and deep fascination with space and extraterrestrial life, Taylor was both admired and misunderstood by those who knew him. Living in the small town of Duncan, British Columbia, he had built a reputation for his unusual lifestyle and extraordinary talents. But when he vanished without a trace, leaving behind a cryptic note that hinted at interstellar travel, his story took on an almost mythic quality. Taylor's note, which was found in his workshop shortly after his disappearance, suggested that he had left Earth voluntarily. He claimed that recurring dreams had promised him a 42-month journey aboard an alien spacecraft to explore the universe, and he declared that he would return once that voyage was complete. In the message, he explained that he no longer required his earthly possessions and instructed his family to follow the guidance in his will. This startling letter, combined with his previous claims of communicating with beings from beyond, set off a storm of speculation about his fate. Those closest to Taylor were deeply puzzled. While some considered the possibility that he had staged an elaborate disappearance to pursue a life elsewhere, others believed something far more extraordinary had occurred. Granger Taylor had long expressed a belief in the existence of extraterrestrial intelligence and had even constructed what he called a spaceship on his family's property. Although it was non-functional, it was a physical symbol of his intense curiosity and vision. Friends said he had been experimenting with radios and transceivers, claiming to have received signals or messages from advanced beings. He spoke about space as though it were not just a dream, but a destination. On the night he disappeared, something unusual did take place. Local residents reported hearing a loud bang, and some even claimed to have seen strange lights in the sky. While skeptics dismissed the lights as lightning from a severe storm that occurred that evening, others questioned whether they could have been part of the encounter Taylor believed was coming. He had previously told friends, including his close companion Kaylor, that if contact with advanced life occurred, it might happen during bad weather as cover. The coincidence of these phenomena on the same night he vanished only deepened the mystery. Taylor's connection to dynamite also fueled speculation. He had access to explosives, and some theories suggest that the loud bang might have been an explosion. However, those who knew him well insisted that he was highly knowledgeable and careful with such materials. They argued it was extremely unlikely he would mishandle them or do anything reckless. Kaylor, who had worked with Taylor on various mechanical projects including the spaceship on his farm, described him as intelligent, practical, and grounded. Despite his otherworldly beliefs, Taylor was not regarded by those close to him as someone who acted irrationally or impulsively. Kaylor and his family were among the last to see Taylor before his disappearance. In hindsight, Kaylor said there was nothing to suggest his friend was preparing to leave permanently, or that he was in any distress. The note, the absence of any clear trace, and the circumstances of that stormy night have left an enduring sense of ambiguity. What seemed like fantasy to some was entirely real to Granger Taylor. In the years since, his story has become a cultural touchstone. For some, Taylor represents a tragic figure whose longing to connect with something greater led him down an uncertain path. For others, he is remembered as a dreamer and visionary, someone whose mind reached far beyond the boundaries of the world around him. Whether he ventured into the wilderness and met an unfortunate fate, or whether something more mysterious happened, remains unknown. Granger Taylor's disappearance is not just a case of a missing person, it's a story that touches on larger questions about human curiosity, belief, and the unknown. His fascination with the stars, his tireless tinkering, and his final message left behind a legacy that still sparks imaginations today. In an age where so many seek to explain the unexplained, his story remains a powerful reminder that there are still mysteries we may never fully understand. The mystery of Paige Rancosski. The mysterious disappearance of Paige Rancosski remains one of Michigan's most enduring unsolved cases. On May 24, 1990, the 30-year-old substitute teacher and nanny had a full, yet routine day planned. It began with her driving her mother, Ardis Rancosski, to Detroit Metro Airport for a flight to Atlanta to visit her other daughters. Paige's day continued with a visit to a friend in Canton, Michigan, where she spent some time chatting about her fiancé, Steve, and her plans to watch his softball game later that evening. It was the Thursday before Memorial Day weekend, and Paige, like many others, was excited about the holiday ahead. After leaving her friend's home around 2:30 in the afternoon, Paige stopped at a local party store. There, she bought a 40-ounce beer and had a pleasant exchange with the store clerk, who later recalled their conversation thanks to Paige's distinctive beaded necklace. This detail would later help investigators construct a timeline of her final known movements. After the brief stop, Paige got back into her car, a silver 1986 Oldsmobile Cutlass Calais, and poured some of the beer into a fast food cup. With the bottle secured, she resumed her drive west toward the Okemos area where she lived. Paige made another stop roughly 30 minutes into her trip, this time at a rest area along the I-96 corridor. A witness later reported seeing her there, noting she had a short and neutral interaction with a man. There was no indication that anything was amiss at that point. However, shortly afterward, at approximately 3:30 to 3:40 in the afternoon, Paige pulled her vehicle off the highway just about 100 yards from the Fowlerville exit. What happened next has been the subject of speculation and uncertainty for over 3 decades. Her car was found abandoned, still running, with her shoes and purse left inside. The fact that the engine was still on ruled out mechanical failure as a cause for her stopping. Multiple witnesses reported seeing Paige outside the vehicle. One said she was barefoot and possibly being guided toward a nearby burgundy minivan by a man who may have been black or Latino. Another witness, notably a law enforcement officer who happened to be driving by, said he saw a man standing in front of Paige's vehicle with an outstretched arm, possibly showing a badge. The officer's initial impression was that the man might have been an off-duty or plainclothes police officer, which added a puzzling dimension to the already strange scene. Between 4:15 and 4:30, Paige had vanished. A Livingston County Sheriff's deputy later encountered her still-running car and marked it as abandoned. It is unclear whether the deputy noticed her personal belongings inside the car at that time, but his report confirmed that the vehicle showed no signs of distress or malfunction. Despite the quick appearance of law enforcement at the scene, Paige was already gone. In the years following her disappearance, extensive investigations have failed to uncover conclusive answers. Her financial accounts remained untouched, and no credible sightings were ever confirmed. Numerous tips over the years have led to searches and even excavations, but none have resulted in a breakthrough. One significant dig, fueled by a promising tip, brought hope to her family and community, but ultimately yielded no results. The mystery deepened with each passing year. Throughout the investigation, her fiancé, Steve, has been thoroughly ruled out as a suspect. His alibi and cooperation with authorities have been consistent, and he has remained in contact with Paige's family over the years. He is not considered a person of interest in the case. Despite the heartbreak, Paige's loved ones have clung to hope, continuing to seek answers and urging the public to come forward with any information that might help bring her home. Paige Rancosski was described as a caring and dependable woman with a bright smile and compassionate nature. She had blonde hair, blue eyes, and a calm, confident demeanor. Notably, she had a medical history that would make her remains easy to identify. One knee had been surgically replaced, and the other contained 2 metal screws, distinguishing features that continue to be noted in missing persons databases. Now, more than 30 years later, her disappearance remains a haunting mystery. The combination of eyewitness accounts, the peculiar scene with a still-running car, and the absence of evidence has left investigators and her family searching for answers that have yet to come. Each year, around the anniversary of her disappearance, her name resurfaces in the media as a reminder that someone, somewhere, may know the truth. Her case continues to be investigated by the Michigan State Police and is featured in various databases and forums in the hope that one day a new lead will finally solve the mystery of what happened to Paige Rancosski. The mystery of Dr. Sac Bentoff. Dr. Sac Bentoff was a brilliant and unconventional thinker whose work continues to intrigue both scientists and spiritual seekers alike. He joined the scientific division of the Israeli military, contributing to the development of the country's first rocket, despite having no formal training in science. Later in life, he immigrated to the United States, where he invented a steerable cardiac catheter used in medical procedures. His innovative thinking extended far beyond the physical sciences, however, as he became deeply involved in researching the nature of human consciousness. Bentoff's primary philosophical and scientific contribution was the idea that everything in the universe is vibrating. From the smallest atom to human beings, All forms of matter and energy operate on vibrational frequencies. He theorized that these vibrations not only construct the physical reality we experience, but are also closely tied to consciousness itself. This led to his model in which consciousness is not produced by the brain, but rather is something that the brain tunes into, like a radio receiving a signal that is already present in the universe. According to Bentoff, at certain moments when vibrations temporarily cancel each other out, creating what is known as a node, reality undergoes a shift into a more refined, higher frequency state. During such moments, a person may momentarily become connected to an expanded layer of consciousness, something more universal or spiritual in nature. He believed these tiny gaps in physical reality were windows into something much larger. Bentoff's ideas gained renewed attention through their inclusion in the now widely discussed Gateway Process, a declassified report from the US Army authored by Lieutenant Colonel Wayne McDonnell in 1983. This report attempted to explore how human consciousness could be trained to transcend time and space using a variety of methods such as meditation, hypnosis, and biofeedback. McDonnell drew upon Bentoff's concepts to provide a scientific explanation for how vibrational coherence in the body and brain could lead to altered states of awareness. Bentoff's work helped frame the theoretical foundation that allowed researchers to consider how consciousness could interact with non-local reality. One of Bentoff's most intriguing ideas was that the universe functions like a hologram, meaning every part of it reflects the whole. This concept implies that each person carries within them the blueprint of the entire cosmos. This idea is echoed in both ancient spiritual traditions and emerging theories in quantum physics. In Bentoff's view, understanding consciousness required a shift in perspective, not as something generated internally by the brain, but as something external and universal that individuals could access through vibrational tuning. He argued that the human nervous system plays a central role in bridging physical reality with higher dimensions of consciousness. Through meditative practices, he found that people could synchronize their internal vibrations with universal frequencies, similar to how a radio tunes into a broadcast. One of his notable discoveries was the phenomenon of phase locking between the aorta and the heartbeat during deep meditation. Typically, these two rhythms are slightly out of sync, but during meditation, they align perfectly. This not only conserves energy, but also signifies a shift toward a more harmonious state of being. Bentoff also examined the impact of subtle energy frequencies like infrasound and ultrasound on the human experience. Though inaudible to the conscious ear, these vibrations can influence perception and even lead to sensations that people sometimes interpret as spiritual or supernatural. He pointed out that the Earth itself resonates at around 7.5 Hz, a frequency known as the Schumann resonance, which closely matches the brainwave activity associated with meditation and altered states such as remote viewing. His ideas were not isolated. At the first International Conference on Psychotronic Research in 1973, several other scientists presented similar concepts, suggesting that human beings are capable of tapping into a universal field of energy. According to their collective view, intuitive insights and psychic phenomena are less about fantasy and more about learning how to access a natural part of the universe that modern science has yet to fully understand. Dr. Sac Bentoff's life was tragically cut short in 1979 in an aviation accident. Despite his untimely passing, his work remains influential. His research continues to serve as a bridge between science and spirituality, offering a model of consciousness that sees the human mind as far more powerful than previously thought. His legacy is one of curiosity, exploration, and the relentless pursuit of understanding what it means to be aware in a universe of vibration. The strange case of Father John Vrainiac. The disappearance of Father John Vrainiac in 1923 remains one of the most baffling and unsettling unsolved cases in American ecclesiastical history. At just 28 years old, Vrainiac was a devoted Catholic priest serving in Verdun, Illinois, who vanished without a trace during a seemingly routine trip to St. Louis. What began as an ordinary Monday for a young priest quickly turned into a nationwide mystery that would confound law enforcement, parishioners, and family for generations. John Vrainiac was born in 1895 in Slovakia to Joseph and Johanna Vrainiac. He was the second of 5 children, with one older brother, Adolf, and younger siblings Franco, Joseph, and Apollona. In 1907, The Vrainiac family immigrated to the United States, settling first in Pennsylvania among a growing Slovakian community. By the 1910 census, they were living in West Pike Run, Pennsylvania. Though census documents listed the family as Hungarian immigrants, this reflected the political boundaries of the time, as Slovakia was then part of the Austro-Hungarian Empire. From an early age, John was deeply committed to his faith and education. He attended St. Procopius College, now known as Benedictine University, an institution focused on educating Czech and Slovak men. There, he served as editor of the college's publication, Studentski Listy, and demonstrated intellectual curiosity with writings such as an article titled Roosevelt and the Ape Man in Theory, although its content remains unclear due to language barriers. By 1917, he was ordained and assigned to his first parish as rector at Sacred Heart Catholic Church in Verden. He remained there for 6 years, gaining the respect and affection of his congregation. On March 5, 1923, Father Vrainiac left for St. Louis, Missouri, an 85-mile journey from Verden. His plans were simple: purchase supplies for an upcoming church bazaar and visit 2 fellow priests to invite them to a church event. He intended to stop first at the home of Father V.F. Linek, pastor of Holy Trinity Slovak Catholic Church, but Linek was not home when John arrived. Leaving a note behind, John then made stops at Butler Brothers and Rice Sticks Dry Goods to complete his shopping. The last confirmed sighting of him was at 2:30 in the afternoon at the Butler Brothers store. He intended to stop in Mount Olive on his way back to visit Father Charles Naparek. What happened after that remains a mystery. At 12:15 on March 6th, John's car was found parked at Elm and Main Street in the business district of St. Louis near the Mississippi River. At the time, the vehicle was assumed to be abandoned by its owner, and police impounded it without suspecting foul play. When John failed to return home, concern quickly spread in Verden. He had told his mother, who lived with him, that he would be back that evening. His parishioners contacted St. Louis police, informing them that John rarely carried cash on such trips, instead charging purchases to the church. Once the police connected the vehicle to the missing priest, a more thorough investigation began. A garage owner in Venice, Illinois, a nearby town, confirmed that he had repaired John's car that Monday. This supported the belief that John had been in the area shortly before his disappearance. Despite widespread media attention and extensive searches, no trace of John was ever found. The contents of his car only deepened the mystery. It was a Buick coupe. Inside, police found a few old papers and pamphlets, including a bill from the Catholic Art Association for a film titled The Victim. The film's plot eerily mirrored John's disappearance, telling the story of a priest who helps a struggling family only to be harmed by a criminal and left near a bridge. A return envelope to an insurance agency and various pamphlets were also discovered. Most curiously, the words, "We won," were scratched into the back seat, and corn stalks and wheat were found on the undercarriage, suggesting the car had recently travelled through a rural area or field. Additionally, John's St. Christopher medal had been pried from where he had affixed it inside the car. John's family and community were devastated. His parishioners raised a $1,500 reward, equivalent to more than $26,000 today, and began organizing their own searches along the route from Verden to Venice. A friend of John's planned to escalate the matter to the Illinois Attorney General, though it's unclear whether that effort ever materialized. The investigation, however, was never able to produce definitive leads. Various theories have been proposed over the years. One early theory was that John had voluntarily disappeared, possibly leaving the priesthood. However, those who knew him, including Father Linek, firmly rejected that idea. They described him as deeply committed to his calling and joyful in his service to the church. Another rumor suggested that John had been attacked by individuals along the road, possibly criminals or opportunists. Father Naparek reported receiving an anonymous phone call alleging an assault, but the credibility of this claim is highly questionable, and some suspect it may have been a prank or fabrication. Perhaps the most disturbing theory involves a man named Andrew Rolando, who was already wanted for the death of another priest, Father Arthur Belknap. Rolando had reportedly expressed hostility toward Catholics and was believed to have been in Verden during the time of John's disappearance, possibly to visit a woman he had been corresponding with. While circumstantial, these facts suggest a potential link that was never fully explored. Even within John's own family, mystery and speculation abounded. His brother Joseph told newspapers that he had received word from John, claiming he was being held by an unnamed organization. Joseph refused to elaborate further, saying that the police chief had asked him to stay quiet. However, other reports contradicted this, suggesting that Joseph may not have received any such message at all. The conflicting accounts added another layer of confusion to an already puzzling case. More than a century later, the fate of Father John Vrainiac remains unknown. His disappearance left a void in his community and unanswered questions that have never been resolved. Whether he was the victim of a targeted attack, a tragic accident, or something more sinister, his story continues to haunt those who remember his dedication, intellect, and quiet strength. The absence of closure has kept his name alive in historical records and among those who still wonder what became of the young priest who vanished in the city of St. Louis. What happened to Josh Gimond? The disappearance of Josh Gimond remains one of Minnesota's most haunting and perplexing mysteries. On the night of November 9, 2002, the 20-year-old college student vanished while walking a short distance back to his dorm at St. John's University in Collegeville, Minnesota. What should have been a routine 3-minute walk turned into an unsolved case that continues to confound investigators, his family, and the wider community more than 2 decades later. Josh Gimond was known for his intellect, ambition, and charisma. Born on June 18, 1982, in Redwood Falls, Minnesota, and raised in Maple Lake, he had already achieved considerable success by the time he entered college. A valedictorian and class president at Maple Lake High School, Gimond was driven by a clear sense of purpose. His peers voted him most likely to succeed, and his aspirations included attending Yale Law School and one day running for public office. At St. John's University, a private Catholic institution, he immersed himself in political science and law, serving as co-captain of the mock trial team and staying active in pre-law initiatives. By the fall of 2002, Gimond was living with 5 other students at the St. Maur House dorm, including his close friend Nick Hajdukovic. Though he had recently ended a relationship with his longtime girlfriend Katie Benson, they remained on good terms. That night, Gimond attended a low-key poker gathering at the Metten Court dormitory, a short walk from his room. Surveillance logs show he entered his apartment at 6 minutes past 11 in the evening, before leaving again, heading to the party. He didn't bring his wallet, keys or glasses, items most people would take with them if planning to leave for an extended time. Reports from that evening indicate that he was in good spirits. Although he had been drinking, accounts differ on how affected he seemed. Some friends claimed he was coherent and composed, while others thought he appeared mildly intoxicated. At approximately 11:45, Gimond left the gathering without saying goodbye. About 15 minutes later, witnesses believe they saw someone matching his description walking across a bridge near Stumpf Lake, presumably on his way back to his dorm. When he didn't return to the party or respond to calls from friends, many assumed he had gone home and fallen asleep. It wasn't until the next day, when Gimond failed to attend a scheduled mock trial meeting, that concern set in. When his roommate confirmed that Josh hadn't been seen at the dorm, campus security was contacted. Initial investigations revealed unsettling signs. Gimond's car remained untouched in its parking spot, his personal items were in his room, and his television was still on. There had been no recent activity on his AOL Instant Messenger account, which was unusual for someone known to communicate regularly with friends online. The Stearns County Sheriff's Office soon took over the case and launched a broad search effort involving authorities, volunteers, and even the National Guard. The search focused on campus grounds and nearby lakes, with Stumpf Lake a primary focus due to the sighting near the bridge. Despite extensive searches, including sonar scans and dive teams, no physical evidence was recovered from the lake or its surroundings. One early theory was that Gimond may have accidentally fallen into the lake, especially if he had been disoriented. However, the lack of evidence supported no such conclusion. Speculation about his mental state also circulated, especially in light of his recent breakup. Yet friends and family stated he was emotionally stable and had given no indication of wanting to leave his life behind. He was described as optimistic, forward-looking, and excited about his academic future. Rumors of interpersonal tension between Gimond and his roommate began to surface. After the breakup, Benson and Hajdukovic had reportedly explored a possible romantic relationship, though it never progressed beyond a kiss. This situation caused some discomfort for Gimond, and it was said that the two men argued the night before Josh disappeared. On the night in question, Benson claimed she was with Hajdukovic during the time of the disappearance. However, their timelines didn't perfectly align. Hajdukovic's key card records showed he returned to the dorm at 2:42 in the morning, while Benson believed she left him between 1 and 1:30, leaving a window of time unaccounted for. Although Hajdukovic spoke with investigators, he declined a polygraph test, which further fueled speculation, though no charges or direct evidence have ever implicated him. One of the most disturbing developments came later, when authorities closely examined Gimond's computer. After his disappearance, the room was not immediately secured, and someone had deleted files from his hard drive. Although it's unclear who accessed the computer, data recovery specialists were eventually able to retrieve some of the lost material. They found that Gimond had created several profiles on online dating platforms, such as Yahoo Personals, and had shown interest in topics like creating fake IDs. While not incriminating on their own, these findings broadened the scope of the investigation and raised questions about whether Gimond may have had private encounters or interactions unknown to his friends. Adding another layer of complexity, authorities received reports about a suspicious man driving an orange Pontiac Sunfire on campus around the time of Josh's disappearance. This individual was seen in areas known for discreet meetups and was reportedly dropping off other men. Although investigators eventually located the driver, he denied any involvement. Notably, he had his vehicle destroyed before it could be thoroughly searched, a detail that continues to disturb those following the case. Despite the passage of years, Josh Gimond's case remains unsolved. Numerous theories persist, from accidental misadventure to foul play, possibly involving people close to him or strangers with unknown motives. The lack of evidence, combined with conflicting timelines and unexplained actions, has made this case one of Minnesota's most unsettling cold cases. His family, along with advocacy groups and concerned citizens, continue to push for answers, hoping that new technology or a long-withheld clue may eventually bring clarity. For now, the story of Josh Gimond serves as a tragic reminder of how someone can vanish so quickly and completely, even in a tight-knit, familiar environment. His dreams, his plans, and his potential remain suspended in time, with those who knew him still searching for the truth. The mysterious disappearance of Isabella Dan. The mysterious disappearance of Isabella Dan has left investigators and the Markham community with far more questions than answers. A respected real estate lawyer and business owner, Isabella vanished in early March 2023 under circumstances that have yet to be fully explained. Her case continues to draw attention due to the complex intersection of her professional life, real estate dealings, and an eerie absence of personal ties in Canada. Isabella Dan was 53 years old when she was last seen. She operated her own law office in Markham, Ontario, and was known professionally among clients and colleagues for her legal expertise in real estate. Despite her active professional life, Isabella's personal life appeared more private. She had no known close family in Canada. Her parents lived in China, she was unmarried, had no children, and was not known to have many personal relationships outside her business connections. In August 2022, Isabella sold a property in North York for $2.75 million. She still held ownership of another home in the same area, purchased in 2020 for just over $1 million. That property was also tied to significant financial activity, including a second mortgage issued in 2021 and further lending that brought the total mortgage liability to nearly $1.5 million. It was also listed as a rental income property, adding another layer to the complexity of her financial portfolio. At the time of her disappearance, Isabella was facing 4 civil lawsuits in Ontario's Superior Court. These cases involved allegations of professional negligence relating to mortgage transactions on various properties across the Greater Toronto Area. The lawsuits did not claim that Isabella had participated in or directly benefited from any mortgage fraud, but rather that she failed to meet certain legal duties, such as ensuring proper title insurance and advising clients appropriately. Isabella had filed statements denying the allegations, most recently in October 2022. By March 2023, none of the claims had been resolved, and the court had not determined her liability. Friends and acquaintances who had interacted with Isabella shortly before her disappearance described her as cheerful, energetic, and confident. One friend, who met her through a professional setting, recalled that Isabella appeared perfectly healthy and happy during their last meeting in the fall of 2022. Nothing seemed to suggest that anything was wrong in her life, personally or professionally, that might indicate an impending disappearance. On March 3, 2023, Isabella was last seen around 8:30 in the evening, entering a Porsche Cayenne outside a condo building located at Waterwalk Drive and Vauclair Gate in Markham. Surveillance footage confirmed she got into the vehicle willingly, which belonged to a business associate. That individual later told authorities that he had dropped her off at an unknown location, where she was supposedly meeting someone else. Despite narrowing the possible drop-off areas to parts of Markham and Toronto, police have not been able to determine the exact location or identify the person she was meant to meet. Isabella's colleagues grew concerned when she missed appointments and failed to report to work. Soon after, she was reported missing. Her grey Land Rover, which she had leased for 4 years beginning in 2022, was discovered parked on a street near the condo building she was last seen at, but not in the building's designated underground garage. Inside her home, investigators found uneaten food and several personal items she would typically take with her, suggesting she did not plan to be away for long. Since the night she disappeared, there has been no financial or digital activity linked to her known bank accounts or phone. The complete silence only deepened the sense of unease. Police were also unable to find anyone who could speak to Isabella's life outside of her work. She seemed to lack personal contacts or a support network beyond her professional connections. On March 17th, a message from Isabella's brother in China was sent to the Law Society of Ontario in a desperate plea for help. He wrote that their family was deeply worried and in pain over her disappearance. His outreach reflected the growing concern from those closest to her, though distanced by geography. To this day, the disappearance of Isabella Dan remains unexplained. The combination of her legal entanglements, financial activities, and sudden vanishing with no communication has created an enduring mystery. Despite efforts by police, friends, and family, there has been no resolution. The absence of clear personal ties in Canada only makes the investigation more difficult, leaving the question of what happened to Isabella unanswered. As the case continues to unfold, many hope that renewed attention will eventually bring closure to those who knew her and unlock the truth behind her vanishing. The mystery of Dorothy Mae Rusnak Kaylor. The disappearance of Dorothy Mae Rusnak Kaylor, also known as Dottie, remains one of the most perplexing and unsettling missing persons cases in California's history. A deeply private woman with a quiet, thoughtful personality, Dottie was 41 years old when she vanished on June 12, 1985. She had been living in Concord, California with her husband, Jewel Kaylor, at the time, and the story of her disappearance quickly spiraled into a case filled with contradictions, personal struggles, and haunting questions. Dottie grew up in Chardon, Ohio, and moved to Berkeley, California in 1964. She built a life for herself working as a secretary and was known for her love of books and her deeply introspective nature. She first met Jewel Kaylor in 1970 under complicated circumstances. Jewel had been dating her roommate and was married with a daughter at the time. When Dottie discovered the truth, Jewel reassured her that he was pursuing a divorce. Despite the rocky start, Dottie continued the relationship. Eventually, Jewel did file for divorce, and the two married in 1975. The couple settled in Concord, where Jewel worked for the United States Forest Service as an entomologist and aerial photography specialist. Their marriage, however, was far from idyllic. Over time, Dottie became isolated, exacerbated by her agoraphobia, a condition that made it difficult for her to leave the house or be in public places. Jewel traveled frequently for work, often unreachable, which left Dottie alone much of the time. According to her friends and family, this isolation intensified her anxiety. As the years passed, Dottie grew increasingly suspicious of Jewel's long absences. She discovered evidence of extramarital affairs and wrote letters to several women he had been involved with, many of whom confirmed they had no idea he was married. Dottie kept meticulous records of her discoveries and confided in her support network, including new friends she made through a group called Women in Transition. These connections were vital to Dottie's emotional growth, and her loved ones believed she was beginning to reclaim her independence and strength. In 1984, Dottie quietly began taking steps toward leaving her marriage. She opened a post office box, created a personal bank account, applied for credit cards in her name, and sold a truck and trailer, placing the proceeds in a secure cashier's check. She stored financial and personal documents detailing Jules' affairs and alleged struggles in a locked file cabinet, which she asked a friend, Shelley Wilson, to keep for her. These moves painted a clear picture of a woman preparing to leave a troubled marriage. Despite years of emotional and, at times, physical turmoil, Dottie had begun to regain a sense of control. She joined a church, enrolled in college classes, and received therapy to address her agoraphobia. She had started taking pride in her appearance again and showed signs of emotional resilience that hadn't been present for years. She was preparing to stay in the Concord home as Jules planned a job-related move to Salt Lake City, Utah. On June 11, 1985, Dottie and Jules visited a mechanic together, during which they reportedly argued. This was the last time anyone besides Jules reported seeing her. According to Jules, he drove her to the Pleasant Hill BART station the next morning, where she was supposedly catching a train to visit a friend. He claimed she would return on June 24th, the same day he was set to leave for Utah. That was the last known sighting of Dottie. On June 13th, Jules returned home early from work and said he was surprised to see Dottie's Volkswagen parked next to his car at the Concord BART station. He found her purse inside the vehicle, containing nearly all of her essential belongings, including her ID, checkbook, medication, and wallet. The only item missing was her bee sting kit, which she carried at all times due to a severe allergy. Her overnight bag was also gone, and she was nowhere to be found. Rather than contacting the police right away, Jules took several puzzling steps. He moved her car multiple times to avoid parking tickets, left notes inside the vehicle, and placed her purse under the seat. On June 16th, he called a real estate agent to list their house for rent, and on June 19th, just 1 week after her disappearance, movers arrived to pack up everything, including Dottie's possessions. Dottie's sister Diane and Shelley were stunned. They questioned why Jules was clearing out her belongings when she was supposedly returning in just a few days. He offered no clear explanation. Even more troubling, Jules delayed filing a missing persons report until June 17th, 5 days after Dottie vanished. He initially claimed to have called her sister, but Diane later confirmed she learned of the disappearance from Shelley, not Jules. His accounts to investigators were inconsistent, and he refused multiple requests to take a polygraph. When questioned about discrepancies, he altered key details, including when he and Dottie supposedly washed her car. Dottie's friends and family do not believe she would have willingly disappeared. She had made clear plans for her future, secured finances for an independent life, and was re-establishing her identity after years of struggle. Leaving behind her purse, her car, and her beloved dog made no sense. Investigators, including private detectives hired by Diane, uncovered no evidence that she attempted to start a new life elsewhere. There were no financial transactions, no attempts to retrieve her $5,000 check, and no communication with her support group or family. While Jules continued to maintain his innocence, his behavior, both before and after Dottie's disappearance, raised concern. He expressed mixed emotions in his letters to her, pleading with her to return while blaming her for causing him hardship. His lack of urgency and failure to reach out to her friends and family in the immediate aftermath further deepened suspicion. The house was repainted, her things were removed, and he relocated to Utah shortly after. To this day, no conclusive evidence has emerged to confirm what happened to Dorothy Kaylor. Despite exhaustive searches and investigations, her fate remains unknown. Her family and friends believe that Dottie was on the verge of a new beginning and would not have chosen to walk away from it all. They continue to hold out hope for answers, driven by love and a determination to honor her life and the courage she showed in her final months. Dorothy Kaylor's disappearance is a chilling reminder of how fragile the line between freedom and fear can be. Her case remains open, and those who knew and loved her have never stopped seeking justice. As the years pass, the memory of Dottie lives on, not only in the hearts of those who remember her, but in the hope that the truth will one day come to light. The strange disappearance of Adam Hecht. The mysterious disappearance of Adam Hecht in 1989 remains one of the most baffling missing persons cases in California. At just 23 years old, Adam was the son of Harold Hecht Sr., a renowned Hollywood film producer. With a privileged background, a promising future, and a stable job as a tennis instructor in Beverly Hills, Adam's sudden and unexplained vanishing shocked his family and left a trail of unanswered questions. Adam was known as a thoughtful and compassionate young man, someone with a quiet demeanor and a kind heart. After graduating high school, he chose a simple and disciplined life, avoiding the spotlight despite his family's Hollywood connections. In the late 1980s, he was working as a tennis instructor and living independently in West Los Angeles. It was during this time that a seemingly random encounter would set into motion the strange events that would ultimately lead to his disappearance. On the morning of January 10, 1989, Adam and his brother, Harold Jr., went out for breakfast. Outside the restaurant, Adam noticed a homeless man and, without hesitation, left the table to speak with him. His brother, curious about the exchange, asked what the conversation was about, but Adam declined to explain. Later, after leaving the restaurant, Adam was seen again speaking to the same man, who was introduced as Tony. Within days, Adam invited Tony to move into his apartment, a decision that surprised and deeply concerned his family. Adam's sudden and intense bond with Tony puzzled his loved ones. He brought Tony to meet his mother, Martine, who was visibly unsettled by the man's behavior. Tony reportedly waved his hands over his food in a ritualistic gesture and acted in ways that made Martine uncomfortable. Despite her misgivings, Adam continued to spend more and more time with Tony. Their relationship grew, and they began frequenting areas like Skid Row in downtown Los Angeles, an area known for its harsh conditions and vulnerability to crime. During one of these outings, Adam severely burned his hand while taking part in a mysterious ritual with Tony, further alarming his family. On June 10, 1989, Harold visited Adam's apartment after not hearing from him for several days. When he arrived, he found Tony there, but Adam was nowhere to be seen. Tony claimed he didn't know where Adam had gone or when he would return. Concern deepened when Martine visited and was met with more disturbing behavior. Tony attempted to kiss her and insisted he was her son, prompting the family to have him removed from the apartment. By July, Adam was officially reported missing. Investigators looked into Tony's potential involvement in Adam's disappearance, but found no concrete evidence linking him to any wrongdoing. He maintained that he had no idea where Adam had gone. However, suspicion lingered, especially among Adam's family, who strongly believed that Tony was withholding information. Their concerns were compounded when, a month after Adam disappeared, his car was found abandoned on a Beverly Hills street. It was covered in parking tickets, suggesting it had been left there for an extended period. Inside the vehicle were Adam's keys, wallet, and jacket, indicating he had no intention of leaving for long, or that he may not have left the car willingly. Despite these concerning signs, authorities considered the possibility that Adam had chosen to disappear voluntarily. With no evidence of foul play, no witnesses, and no solid leads, the investigation stalled. Still, Adam's family remained steadfast in their belief that something had happened to him against his will. They pointed to his compassionate nature and the influence of his relationship with Tony as possible factors in his vanishing. A year after Adam's disappearance, his brother Harold encountered Tony on the street and pressed him for information. Tony's response was cryptic. He told Harold that if he stayed on the streets long enough, he would find the answer. It was a vague and unsettling statement that offered no closure. To this day, Adam Hecht remains missing. His case continues to attract speculation and concern, with many believing that someone, perhaps Tony or someone from the streets of Los Angeles, knows more than they are willing to share. Adam's disappearance is a haunting reminder of how quickly a life can be altered by the unknown, and how deeply compassion and trust can lead someone into unforeseen danger. Over 3 decades later, the mystery endures, and Adam's family continues to search for answers in the hope that one day the truth will emerge. The unsolved case of A.J. Bro. The mysterious disappearance of A.J. Bro in August 1991 continues to haunt the town of Houma, Louisiana. A.J., a beloved member of the community, was 50 years old when he vanished under circumstances that defied simple explanation. A longtime resident of Houma, he was deeply known and respected throughout the town. As a dedicated family man, a compassionate mentor, and a recovering alcoholic who helped countless others, his sudden disappearance left behind a trail of confusion, fear, and enduring sorrow for those who knew him best. AJ had lived his entire life in Houma, a small town nestled in the heart of Cajun country. He had raised 3 daughters and worked for over 30 years as a salesman at Earl Williams' clothing store. After struggling with alcohol for years, AJ turned his life around in the early 1980s. By 1991, he had been sober for 8 years and had become an active and vital presence in the recovery community. He served as the secretary of his local Alcoholics Anonymous chapter and was known for always being available to help others at any hour. His daughter, Melissa Tardo, described him as deeply dependable, someone who would never hesitate to help a person in need. His life revolved around the Easy Does It Club, a support group for those recovering from alcohol issues. The club was based out of an old warehouse on Bernard Street and became a second home to AJ, where he led meetings, sponsored others, and helped maintain the organization. After overcoming so much, AJ had become a pillar of strength, not only to his family, but to countless others trying to rebuild their lives. On the night of Wednesday, August 28, 1991, AJ attended an AA meeting at the club, just as he did nearly every evening. After the meeting, he helped clean up and left around 8:30 in the evening. He then stopped at a convenience store on Barrow Street to buy a quart of milk, commenting to the clerk about its rising price. He mentioned he was heading home, where he lived with his daughter Tanya, but he never arrived. The following morning, Tanya reported him missing. 2 days later, AJ's silver Ford Tempo was found abandoned in Jim Bowie Park, just across the street from the Easy Does It Club. His daughters rushed to the scene and immediately contacted the police. The car was locked and showed no immediate signs of foul play, but something felt deeply wrong. Melissa feared the worst and even believed his body might be in the trunk. It was not, but the car's condition raised questions. The trunk contained his checkbooks, a brown bank bag with AA group funds, and other personal belongings. His wallet was under the front seat, but his keys and the milk he had just bought were missing. Despite purchasing gas just before his disappearance, the tank was almost empty. Rain had washed away potential forensic evidence, and a search of the park yielded no clues. Still, investigators pressed forward, and soon multiple witnesses came forward claiming to have seen AJ in the days following his disappearance. One of them, a man named Kenneth Pellegrin, recognized AJ outside a local store on the Friday after he went missing. AJ appeared disheveled, wearing clothes Kenneth had never seen him wear before. He looked nervous, distracted, and was glancing repeatedly at a red compact car with 3 men inside. Another witness claimed to see AJ riding in a similar car outside of town, again accompanied by 3 men. Both sightings were compelling and suggested that AJ may have been under duress or being watched. Then came an unexpected twist. 2 weeks later, police received an anonymous handwritten note signed Helene, describing in vague detail that AJ had been drinking, suffered a self-inflicted gunshot wound, and was disposed of in a drawstring sack near a dam. Authorities searched the area identified in the letter multiple times, but found no evidence to support the claim. Investigators eventually dismissed the note as a cruel prank or misdirection. Just when the trail seemed to be growing cold, a new sighting emerged. A woman named Christy Boudreau in Lockport, about 30 miles northeast of Houma, reported seeing a man fitting a .J quote. S description selling frozen fish door to door from a van. She described him as nervous, disheveled, and smelling of alcohol. When she later saw his face on a missing persons flyer, she reported it to authorities. After being shown multiple photos, she was nearly certain the man was AJ. This sighting added another layer to the mystery. Had AJ relapsed and wandered off, possibly losing his memory or struggling with confusion? Or had he been taken against his will and then released or escaped, only to end up wandering alone in unfamiliar areas? His family did not believe he would ever return to alcohol, especially not so suddenly. He had been committed to his recovery, active in the community, and was scheduled to receive an award at an AA convention just days after his disappearance. Missing such an important event was completely out of character. Melissa wondered if her father may have seen something he wasn't supposed to, perhaps while in the park, or if he had tried to help someone and ended up in danger. A few days after he vanished, Another witness reported seeing 3 men forcing a fourth into a car in the same park where AJ's vehicle was found. The lead was vague and unconfirmed, but it added to the possibility that something sinister may have happened. Despite widespread efforts, flyers, witness interviews, and repeated searches, AJ Bro remains missing to this day. The case is still officially open, and the Houma Police Department has not ruled out any possibilities. The sightings, the abandoned car, and the eerie note all add to the haunting uncertainty surrounding his fate. To his family, AJ was more than just a missing person. He was a man who had overcome adversity, built a new life of service, and touched the lives of many. His disappearance remains a source of deep pain, compounded by the absence of answers. They continue to hold out hope for closure, seeking peace in the face of a mystery that refuses to let go. The mystery of Adam's treasure. The legend of Adam's treasure is one of the most enduring and mysterious tales of lost gold in the American Southwest. Dating back to 1864, it tells the story of a hidden canyon filled with gold, discovered, lost, and relentlessly pursued ever since. For over a century and a half, treasure hunters have searched the deserts and remote canyons of Arizona, hoping to uncover what could be one of the greatest buried fortunes in American folklore. Despite numerous expeditions, exhaustive research, and tantalizing clues, the treasure has never been recovered. The origin of the story begins with a man known only as Adams. Little is known about his background or even his full identity. What is known comes from the account he gave in September of 1864, after he and another man, Davidson, were found weak and barely alive near Fort Apache. They were taken in by soldiers and cared for by an army surgeon. While recuperating, Adams shared a harrowing and unbelievable tale. According to Adams, he and a group of roughly 20 miners were led into a hidden canyon by an Apache man named Gachir. In exchange for 2 horses, a saddle, gold, and supplies, Gachir promised to guide them to a rich gold mine. True to his word, he brought them through a narrow canyon to a place where a waterfall spilled into a stream gleaming with gold dust. The miners were astonished. They agreed to divide the riches equally and set up camp to begin collecting the gold. For a time, all went according to plan. They honored a strict agreement with a local Apache chief. None of the men were to go beyond the waterfall. This boundary was sacred, and its violation would be met with severe consequences. But greed took hold. One day, while chasing a horse, a miner went past the agreed boundary and found an enormous nugget. Soon, others followed, and the group collected over 300 pounds of gold. Adams later estimated the hoard was worth over $1.5 million, a fortune beyond imagination at the time. But the breach of the boundary had consequences. When Adams and Davidson returned to camp one evening, they found the rest of the miners had been attacked. Most were gone. The 2 survivors fled and eventually made their way to Fort Apache. Though they had escaped with their lives, they left behind a golden prize that would haunt Adams for the rest of his days. Until his passing, he continued to search for the lost canyon, but it was never found again. Decades passed, and the legend grew. In the 1920s, a railroad worker named John Mitchell became captivated by the story and devoted himself to finding the treasure. Though he did not succeed, he meticulously documented his searches, adding valuable insights and context to the legend. His records kept the story alive and inspired others to continue the hunt. In the 1980s, treasure hunters Rod Feldman and Mick McPherson took up the quest. Delving into historical documents, maps, and geographic references, Feldman noticed that the names of rivers and landmarks had changed over time. He hypothesized that Adams's lost canyon might be located along Eagle Creek near Clifton, Arizona. In January 1990, Feldman and McPherson ventured into the area to test the theory. To their astonishment, the site matched many of Adams's original descriptions. The terrain, the path of the canyon, and even the location of what may have once been a waterfall appeared to align. They found remnants of an old campsite and the remains of what looked like a cabin. For a moment, it seemed they were on the verge of rediscovering the long-lost gold, but despite the promising signs, there was no trace of the treasure itself. The story of Adam's treasure continues to intrigue and mystify. Some believe the gold is still hidden in the remote canyons of Arizona, waiting to be found. Others think it may have already been discovered and taken in secret, or that the original tale was exaggerated over time. Yet the passion and persistence of those who seek it speak to a broader human fascination with mystery, fortune, and the lure of the unknown. Adam's treasure is more than just a tale of lost gold. It is a legend wrapped in history, human ambition, and the vast, untamed landscapes of the American West. Whether the treasure truly exists may never be known, but the search for it captures the same spirit of adventure that first brought prospectors, pioneers, and dreamers to the frontier. In the age of digital technology and boundless curiosity, Google Earth has opened up a world of virtual exploration. From remote villages to the depths of the oceans, users can travel the globe with just a few clicks. It was through this remarkable tool that an anonymous man made a discovery so extraordinary that it seemed to challenge the boundaries of known science. He reported finding what he described as a massive underwater wall stretching across the planet and starting from the icy continent of Antarctica. This mysterious structure, if true, would be one of the most profound discoveries in human history, leading to an avalanche of questions about its origins, purpose, and the implications for our understanding of Earth's history. The story began when the anonymous explorer, while perusing the satellite imagery provided by Google Earth, stumbled upon something that caught his attention. Beneath the surface of the ocean, near Antarctica, there appeared to be a colossal wall-like structure. Its straight lines and unnatural appearance stood out against the rugged, undulating terrain of the ocean floor. The wall seemed to stretch for thousands of miles, running from Antarctica and continuing across vast sections of the ocean, creating an almost unbroken line around the globe. The sheer magnitude of what he was seeing left the man in disbelief. What he described was no ordinary geological formation. In fact, he claimed that the wall was too perfect, too uniform to be a natural phenomenon. Natural formations are often irregular, subject to the forces of erosion, tectonic shifts, and the chaotic nature of Earth's geology. However, this wall, he noted, seemed engineered, as though it had been deliberately constructed. It was not merely a jagged cliff or a deep trench, it was a continuous structure, stretching horizontally for an unimaginable distance beneath the waves. The anonymous man further elaborated on his findings, saying that this underwater wall defied all known geological and scientific explanations. Its origins, he posited, were entirely unknown. Was it a remnant of an ancient civilization that once thrived on Earth? Could it be evidence of extraterrestrial involvement, or perhaps a relic of some forgotten epoch when the planet's geography was vastly different from what it is today? The mystery surrounding the underwater wall took an even darker and more unsettling turn when the original uploader of the discovery, a man whose identity remains anonymous, suddenly vanished from the internet. After posting his findings on YouTube, he sparked a wave of interest from historical experts, researchers, and curious explorers worldwide. The video, which showcased detailed footage from Google Earth and highlighted the anomalous structure beneath the ocean, quickly garnered attention. However, just as the discussion around the discovery was beginning to gain momentum, the uploader and his content mysteriously disappeared without a trace. For those following the story, the sudden disappearance of the man's YouTube account was both alarming and suspicious. One day, the video of the underwater wall was available for everyone to see, and the next, it was gone, deleted without warning. The individual's entire YouTube channel vanished as though it had never existed, along with any other videos or posts he may have made. Attempts to find any remnants of his online presence proved futile. His social media accounts were similarly erased, and any traces of communication he had with viewers or fellow researchers evaporated, leaving behind a growing sense of unease. The disappearance immediately triggered alarm bells among those who believed the underwater wall represented something far greater than a digital anomaly. To them, the man's vanishing and the erasure of his online identity were not coincidences, but part of a broader, more nefarious cover-up. Many began speculating that the discovery of the underwater wall had drawn the attention of powerful entities, possibly government agencies, secret organizations, or even extraterrestrial forces, that did not want the information to become public knowledge. In their view, the man's sudden disappearance was an attempt to silence him and suppress the groundbreaking discovery. Those who had seen the original video before it was deleted described how the uploader was passionate and precise in his presentation. He meticulously laid out the evidence, showing how the wall stretched for thousands of miles, how it was positioned in a way that seemed unnatural, and how it could not be easily explained by existing scientific models. He was careful to distinguish between speculation and evidence, urging viewers to conduct their own research. Yet, despite his careful approach, it seemed that someone, or something, decided his information was too sensitive to be shared publicly. Many of those who followed the case closely believed that the timing of the man's disappearance was no coincidence. The removal of the underwater structure raises questions about preservation and documentation of such phenomena. When the man first shared his discovery online, it ignited a firestorm of debate. Some users interested in the unknown took the discovery seriously, pointing out that the sheer length and scope of the alleged wall made it difficult to dismiss entirely. Antarctica has long been a focal point for speculation. Its remote and inhospitable environment, coupled with the fact that much of its landmass remains unexplored due to the thick ice that covers it, has fueled numerous theories about what might be hidden beneath. From claims of lost ancient civilizations to secret military bases, the frozen continent has been a blank canvas for imaginations to run wild. The discovery of an underwater wall starting in Antarctica only added to the intrigue. One of the more popular theories that emerged in response to the man's discovery was the idea that the wall might be a remnant of a lost civilization, such as Atlantis. The idea of ancient advanced civilizations has long fascinated historians, archaeologists, and researchers alike. If this wall were indeed man-made, it would suggest that at some point in Earth's distant past, a civilization possessed the technological prowess to construct such a monumental structure. The wall's location, deep beneath the ocean's surface, would imply that this civilization existed before dramatic shifts in sea levels or even tectonic activity that may have submerged the wall. Another theory proposed that the wall could be evidence of extraterrestrial influence. The structure's massive scale and seemingly impossible construction led some to suggest that it was not of human origin at all. Of course, without further investigation, these theories remain speculative. But the mystery of the wall persists. As more individuals turned their attention to Google Earth, scouring the ocean floors for similar anomalies, the debate surrounding the man's discovery only grew more intense. The idea that the massive underwater wall could be a remnant of an advanced ancient civilization opens a fascinating window into the possibility that Earth's history is far more complex than traditionally understood. This theory suggests that long before our current understanding of human history, there may have been civilizations that rose to astonishing levels of technological and architectural prowess, only to vanish, leaving behind mysterious traces of their existence. One compelling possibility is that the underwater wall represents a forgotten civilization that flourished in Earth's distant past, perhaps tens of thousands or even hundreds of thousands of years ago. If such a society existed, it could have been far more advanced than we imagine, capable of large-scale engineering feats that rival or even surpass modern capabilities. The wall, with its massive scale and strikingly straight lines, might have been part of a larger network of structures, infrastructure, or even a form of ancient defensive system designed to serve purposes we can only speculate about today. The advanced civilization responsible for this construction might have possessed profound knowledge of geology, engineering, and oceanography, enabling them to work with the Earth's natural resources on a colossal scale. Looking back at the Earth's long history, it's clear that civilizations have come and gone, often leaving behind little evidence of their existence. Many ancient societies are lost to the sands of time, their structures buried beneath deserts, jungles, or oceans. The advanced civilizations of antiquity, such as the Sumerians, Egyptians, or the builders of the great cities of the Indus Valley, represent only a tiny fragment of human history, covering the last few thousand years. One of the most popular theories concerning lost ancient civilizations revolves around the concept of cyclical cataclysms. According to this theory, Earth has experienced numerous global catastrophes, be it from asteroid impacts, massive volcanic eruptions, or sudden climate shifts that have repeatedly wiped out advanced societies. Each time, civilization is forced to start anew, rising and falling in waves over millennia. The legendary civilization of Atlantis, as described by the ancient Greek philosopher Plato, is perhaps the most famous example of this idea. Plato's account of an advanced society that sank beneath the waves following a catastrophic disaster resonates with those who believe that ancient civilizations were far more advanced than conventional history suggests. The placement of the wall beneath the ocean's surface adds another layer of mystery. At some point in the past, if this wall was constructed by human or humanoid hands, it would have been above sea level, part of a thriving terrestrial civilization. But as the Earth's climate changed, glaciers melted and sea levels rose, much of the world's coastal regions and any structures built there would have been submerged. Today, we know that the ocean's levels have risen dramatically over the last 20,000 years as the planet emerged from the last ice age. This process would have flooded vast areas of what was once dry land, swallowing cities, structures, and perhaps even entire civilizations beneath the waves. If the underwater wall is indeed the creation of an ancient advanced civilization, it may have been built during a time when the Earth's continents were configured differently. The positioning of the wall near Antarctica raises intriguing questions about whether this region of the world was once hospitable and capable of supporting human life. Geologists believe that millions of years ago, Antarctica was not the frozen, desolate place it is today, but a temperate landmass, perhaps even covered with forests. As the planet's climate changed, Antarctica became encased in ice, potentially burying any remnants of early civilizations or structures beneath miles of glacial cover. Moreover, the theory of multiple advanced civilizations throughout Earth's past aligns with the idea that our planet has witnessed countless rises and falls of societies. Some historians and researchers argue that current mainstream archaeology only scratches the surface of humanity's true history. The possibility of advanced civilizations predating the known record of human history also raises questions about the origins of technology and knowledge. Some theorists speculate that ancient civilizations may have been in contact with beings from other planets, gaining insights into advanced construction, navigation, and astronomical knowledge that seem out of place for the time periods in which they existed. The idea that the underwater wall could be a vestige of such a collaboration between humans and extraterrestrials adds an entirely new dimension to the mystery. Ultimately, the underwater wall, if real, stands as a testament to how little we truly understand about Earth's distant past. The planet's history is not a linear progression, but rather a series of cycles, where civilizations rise, flourish, and disappear, leaving only traces of their existence. Whether the wall is evidence of a lost advanced civilization, an artifact from an even earlier epoch of humanity, or something else entirely, it invites us to reconsider what we think we know about human history. It challenges us to keep searching, to look deeper beneath the surface, and to embrace the possibility that Earth's past holds far more secrets than we can imagine. The story of the anonymous man who discovered the underwater wall and subsequently disappeared remains one of the internet's enduring mysteries. Whether his findings were genuine evidence of a massive, ancient structure or simply a digital artifact mistaken for something more, the sudden and unexplained removal of his content has ensured that the mystery lives on. For many, the unanswered questions surrounding his disappearance suggest that the truth of the underwater wall may be far stranger and more dangerous than anyone can imagine. This episode serves as a stark reminder of how little we truly know about the unexplored reaches of our planet, particularly its oceans, which cover more than 70% of Earth's surface. It also demonstrates the fragility of information in the digital age. One moment, a world-altering discovery can be at our fingertips, and the next, it can vanish without a trace, leaving only speculation and wonder behind. The Mystery of Mike Degrrui. American documentary filmmaker Mike Degrrui has greatly advanced our knowledge of the secrets of the ocean with his amazing underwater photography. Among his other noteworthy accomplishments, the identification and recording of an undersea saline pool is among the most fascinating. Scientists and viewers were enthralled with this amazing phenomena, which is also referred to as a lake inside the sea, which highlighted the intricacies and marvels of aquatic habitats. Degrrui immediately became well known in the world of wildlife films, thanks to his exceptional ability to blend scientific knowledge with cinematic flair. He collaborated with esteemed institutions like the BBC and National Geographic during his career, winning multiple accolades for his contributions. Degrrui made one of his most amazing discoveries while on a Gulf of Mexico excursion. During the process of filming Blue Planet, Degrrui and his crew came into an underwater brine pool. This unique feature, also called a brine lake, is simply a very salinized body of water that forms a clear and apparent boundary because it is denser than the surrounding seawater. The brine pool Degrrui saw was about 20 meters in diameter and was around 3,300 feet below the surface. The brine pool's discovery was noteworthy from a scientific perspective, as well as aesthetically pleasing. The pool's rich, briny water produced a glittering surface that resembled an underwater lake, replete with shorelines and waves. The phenomenon is brought about by salt deposits on the bottom, which combine with the surrounding salt water to form a brine that is extremely concentrated. Because of its density, this brine separates into a distinct layer from the less salted seawater above. A unique window into one of the strangest habitats on the ocean was offered by Degrrui's footage of the brine pool. A strange and alien landscape was formed by the sharp contrast between the clean seawater above and the black, viscous brine below. With the use of Degrrui's distinctive cinematography, this visual extravaganza was able to introduce a wider audience to the wonders of the deep sea. The brine pool has notable significance for marine research, in addition to being a visual wonder. The majority of marine life cannot survive in these harsh conditions created by the pools, but certain creatures that have evolved to withstand the high salinity and low oxygen content call them home. For instance, specific bacterial species flourish in these environments and serve as the foundation of distinct ecosystems. Researching these creatures can reveal information about the boundaries of life on Earth, as well as the possibility of life existing in similarly harsh conditions on other worlds. In one spot, a large, extremely salty pool of brine had formed, creating the illusion of a lake beneath the surface. Only microscopic life is able to survive in this dense lake because its salinity is 5 times higher than that of the surrounding environment. Mollusks and crustaceans line the shore of this underwater lake. According to Degrrui, there was only mud on the opposite side of the mussels. The underground brine lake's density causes submarines to essentially bounce off of it rather than pass through it, which is maybe its most intriguing feature. Mike Degrrui clarified that although he and his team attempted to dive into the lake, they discovered that the water was so very thick that the submersible rebounded off the surface. This finding piqued his curiosity, and he desired to investigate more, discovering that there might be a completely new planet beneath this vast lake. According to cited statements, Mike Degrrui said the following: "The underwater scene I saw while filming for Blue Planet is without a doubt one of the most incredible things I have ever seen. It was situated in the Mexican Gulf. Something caught my attention from a distance, but I was unable to identify it. It appeared to be a black band. When we got closer to the dark band, it turned into a donut. This donut caught my eye. Its center was black. As we approached it more closely, I saw that the black band had what appeared to be steam on top of it. However, water was lapping up on the coast. This band looked like a mussel ring. A lake lay inside the ring of mussels. We stepped out over the ocean, attempted to jump from it, and descended it. The submarine was unable to enter it. We just seemed to bounce off it. It is unlike anything I have ever seen." End quote. Mike was going to go down into the lake and see what was below there. However, fate had other plans. Mike Degrrui tragically lost his life in an Australian helicopter disaster in 2012 while he was filming a documentary. Nonetheless, his vast collection of work continues on, educating and inspiring upcoming generations of scientists, filmmakers, and environmentalists. Marine science and nature documentaries have been forever changed by Degrrui's love of the ocean and his commitment to revealing its secrets to the public. Tom and Eileen Lonigan disappearance. In January 1998, Tom and Eileen Lonigan went on a group scuba diving excursion to the Coral Sea. However, they were unintentionally left behind and were never heard from again. Tom and Eileen Lonigan, an American married couple, departed Port Douglas, Australia by boat with a party on January 25, 1998. They were heading to one of the most well-liked dive sites in the Great Barrier Reef, St. Crispin's Reef. However, a terrible thing was going to happen. They were apparently mistakenly abandoned at sea and left in open water during the dive. Both of them vanished from sight, and their precise whereabouts are still a horrifying mystery. After spending a year in Fiji as Peace Corps volunteers, Tom and Eileen were returning home on that late January day. On their journey, they made a detour in Queensland, Australia, so they could dive the greatest coral reef system in the world. The scuba boat carried 26 tourists who were booked through the diving business Outer Edge. The boat's skipper, Jeffrey Nairn, took the lead as they sailed to their target, which was located 25 miles off the coast of Queensland. The travellers entered the Coral Sea by donning their diving equipment and jumping in. That's about all that is discernible about Tom and Eileen Lonigan. It's possible that the couple will break the surface after around 40 minutes of scuba diving. They see nothing except a bright blue sky and ocean that stretches to the horizon. There isn't a boat ahead or behind, just two lost divers who discover their crew has abandoned them. It is not always fatal to leave divers behind. However, in this instance, it took too long for someone to realize that Tom and Eileen weren't on the returning boat. Unsettlingly, diving weights were discovered at the bottom by another Outer Edge-led dive group that visited the location the day after the event. One of the crew members merely called the discovery a bonus find. It took 2 days for anybody to discover that the Lonigans were missing. It was only discovered when Nairn discovered a bag on board that held their passports, wallets, and other items. There was a major search underway as alarm bells rang. Rescue crews from the air and the sea searched for the pair lost for 3 days. The search included participation from civilian vessels as well as the Navy. Part of the Lonigans' dive equipment washed up on the beach, discovered by rescue personnel. Among these was a dive slate, a device for taking notes underwater. Their parents denied this theory, claiming that the entries had been misinterpreted. Most people agreed that the pair drowned or was devoured by sharks, as a result of being dehydrated and confused. Coroner Noel Noonan accused Nairn of unlawfully taking the life of the individuals in a pending court case. Noonan stated that the skipper should ensure safety measures are carried out and be vigilant for the safety of passengers. Given the quantity and gravity of the errors, Noonan was confident that a fair jury would find Mr. Nairn guilty based on criminal evidence. Nairn was declared innocent. However, the business was forced out of business after admitting guilt to carelessness and receiving a fine. The case of Tom and Eileen Lonigan also led to tighter safety rules from the government, such as headcount verification and other identification procedures. Based on the tragic circumstances of Tom and Eileen Lonigan's final dive and untimely disappearance, the 2003 film Open Water was released. The mysterious disappearance of Walter Powell. The disappearance of Walter Powell, a British politician and Member of Parliament for Malmesbury, remains one of the most intriguing and unsolved mysteries of the 19th century. Powell vanished under mysterious circumstances on December 10, 1881, while on a balloon flight, never to be seen again. Walter Powell was born in 1842 into a well-to-do family. He was educated at prestigious institutions and went on to become a solicitor before entering politics. In 1868, Powell was elected as the Conservative MP for Malmesbury, a position he held until his disappearance. Known for his dedication and eloquence, Powell was a respected figure in his constituency and the broader political landscape of the United Kingdom. In addition to his political career, Powell had a keen interest in science and technology, particularly in the emerging field of aeronautics. During the late 19th century, ballooning was gaining popularity as both a sport and a means of scientific exploration. Powell became an enthusiastic balloonist, joining the Aeronautical Society of Great Britain and participating in several balloon flights. His passion for aeronautics was well known, and he often spoke about the potential of ballooning to advance scientific knowledge and improve communication. On December 10, 1881, Powell embarked on what would be his final balloon flight. Accompanied by Captain Alfred Templar and Mr. Arthur Agg Gardner, Powell took off from Bath in a balloon named Saladin. The trio intended to make a routine flight and return within a few hours. However, the weather conditions that day were far from ideal. Strong winds and thick fog quickly enveloped the balloon, making navigation difficult. As the balloon drifted over the Bristol Channel, it became apparent that the situation was becoming perilous. Witnesses on the ground reported seeing the balloon struggling against the elements, being pushed further out to sea. In an attempt to regain control, Powell and his companions jettisoned ballast to ascend above the fog, but the effort was in vain. The balloon continued to drift out of sight, and the last visual contact with Saladin was reported near the coast of Wales. Captain Templar and Mr. Ag Gardner managed to survive the ordeal. They recounted that the balloon had descended dangerously low over the choppy waters of the channel. Realizing the imminent danger, Templar and Ag Gardner jumped from the balloon, landing in the sea where they were later rescued by a passing vessel. Powell, however, did not jump. Witnesses reported seeing him still in the basket as the balloon ascended once more and disappeared into the clouds. Despite extensive search efforts by the Royal Navy and private vessels, neither Powell nor the balloon was ever found. The disappearance of Walter Powell sparked widespread speculation and numerous theories. Some believed that the balloon had been carried far out to sea, leading to Powell's demise in the cold Atlantic waters. Others suggested that he might have survived the initial disappearance, only to perish later on a remote, uninhabited island. The lack of any concrete evidence, however, left these theories unconfirmed, and Powell's fate remained an unsolved mystery. Powell's disappearance had a profound impact on his family, colleagues, and the public. In Parliament, his colleagues paid tribute to his contributions as a dedicated MP and expressed deep sorrow over his loss. The tragedy also underscored the inherent dangers of ballooning, leading to increased calls for improved safety measures and protocols for aerial navigation. In the years following Powell's disappearance, his story became part of local folklore, with occasional reports of sightings and mysterious artifacts purportedly linked to him or the balloon. These claims, though often sensationalized, reflect the enduring fascination with the mystery of Walter Powell. His legacy as an early aeronaut and a committed public servant endures, symbolizing both the adventurous spirit of the age and the tragic uncertainties that can accompany it. The disappearance of Walter Powell remains a poignant reminder of the risks faced by pioneers in the field of aeronautics and the unpredictable nature of early ballooning. It also highlights the broader theme of human curiosity and the desire to explore the unknown, even at great personal risk. Powell's life and mysterious end continue to captivate historians and the public, representing a compelling chapter in the history of both British politics and early aviation. The mystery of the Resolvin. The merchant ship SV Resolvin was discovered abandoned on August 29, 1884, between Baccalieu Island and Catalina, Newfoundland and Labrador, with her lifeboat gone. In the roughly 6 hours between the final entry in the ship's log and her sighting by HMS Mallard of the Royal Navy, the crew of Resolvin appears to have abandoned her for unidentified reasons. None of them was ever seen or heard from again. Owing to the strange circumstances surrounding Resolvin's discovery at sea, her destiny has been likened to that of the notorious brigantine Mary Celeste. Lieutenant William L. H. Brown's gunboat, HMS Mallard of the Royal Navy, discovered Resolvin on August 29, 1884. Observing the strange, erratic movements of the vessel, Mallard moved to board, and after repeatedly attempting to hail the vessel, he received no response. When the men of HMS Mallard boarded Resolvin, they discovered a functional and undamaged ship with no indication as to why it had been abandoned. Her last logbook entry was made just 6 hours after her sighting. She'd taken little damage other than a shattered garden. There was no lifeboat on board, although the reason for its disappearance was unknown. The candles were burning and the galley fire was blazing. None of the 4 passengers or 7 crew members were said to be familiar to northern waters, and it was speculated that they panicked when the ship sustained ice damage, launching the lifeboat and swamping, even though no remains were discovered. After being towed into the adjacent harbour, the ship was renovated and launched once more with a new crew and owner. Her crew on August 29, 1884, vanished without a trace. This ship was given the moniker the Welsh Mary Celeste because of its mystery. Resolvin met her second and last act of tragedy when she was carrying a shipment of timber back to Newfoundland from Nova Scotia in 1887. The mysterious disappearance of the Kaz II. The disappearance of the Kaz II often referred to as the ghost yacht, remains one of the most perplexing maritime mysteries of the 21st century. In April 2007, the Kaz-2 was discovered adrift off the northeastern coast of Australia, near the Great Barrier Reef, with its three-man crew missing without a trace. The circumstances surrounding the disappearance of the crew have sparked numerous theories and speculations, making it a modern maritime mystery. The Kaz-2, a 12-metre catamaran, set sail from Airlie Beach in Queensland on April 15, 2007. The yacht was crewed by three experienced sailors, Derek Batten, aged 56, and brothers Peter and James Tunstead, aged 69 and 63. They planned to sail the vessel to Perth, Western Australia, a journey that would take several weeks. The men were well prepared, having stocked the yacht with ample provisions and equipment for the long voyage. 5 days into their journey, on April 20th, a helicopter conducting a routine patrol of the Great Barrier Reef spotted the vessel drifting aimlessly near the outer reef. Concerned by the sight of an unattended vessel, the pilot reported it to the Australian Maritime Safety Authority, which quickly dispatched a rescue team to investigate. When rescuers boarded the Kaz-2, they found the yacht in a perplexing state. The Kaz-2 appeared to be in good condition, with its engine running, a laptop turned on, and food and utensils set out as if the crew had just been interrupted during a meal. Personal belongings, including wallets and mobile phones, were found undisturbed, and the yacht's emergency equipment, such as the life raft and emergency beacon, were intact and unused. However, there were several unusual details that deepened the mystery. A sail was badly shredded, one of the boat's fenders was missing, and a fishing line was found trailing in the water. Despite an extensive air and sea search covering thousands of square kilometers, no trace of Derek Batten or the Tunstead brothers was ever found. The lack of any distress signal or sign of foul play led to widespread speculation and numerous theories about what might have happened to the crew. One of the leading theories is that the men were victims of a sudden and unexpected accident. Some speculate that one of the crew members may have fallen overboard while trying to fix the tangled fishing line, and the others, in an attempt to rescue him, also ended up in the water. This scenario is supported by the fact that the yacht's small dinghy was still securely attached, suggesting that the men did not attempt to leave the yacht in a controlled manner. Another theory suggests that the crew might have encountered adverse weather conditions or a rogue wave, which could have caused one or more of them to be swept overboard. The shredded sail and missing fender could indicate that the Kaz-2 had encountered rough seas. However, weather reports from the time do not support the occurrence of severe weather conditions in the area during the period in question. There is also speculation that the men could have been victims of piracy or foul play. However, the lack of any evidence of a struggle or theft, combined with the fact that the yacht was found in an area not typically associated with piracy, makes this theory less plausible. The official inquest into the disappearance of the Kaz-2's crew, conducted by the Queensland Coroner's Office, concluded in 2008 that the most likely scenario was that one of the men had fallen overboard while attempting to free the fishing line, and the others had met a similar fate while trying to rescue him. The coroner noted that the yacht's autopilot would have continued to steer the vessel on its course, leaving the men stranded in the water. Despite the coroner's conclusion, the mystery of the Kaz-2 endures. The case has been compared to the famous maritime mystery of the Mary Celeste, another vessel found adrift with its crew missing under unexplained circumstances. The story of the Kaz-2 has captivated the public and inspired various media portrayals, including documentaries and investigative reports. As of right now, the disappearance of the Kaz-2's crew remains one of the most compelling and unresolved maritime mysteries of recent times. The well-prepared and experienced sailors vanished without a trace, leaving behind a yacht in near-pristine condition, but with puzzling anomalies. While the official investigation suggested an accidental fall overboard as the most likely cause, the lack of definitive evidence has kept the mystery alive. The story of the Kaz-2 serves as a stark reminder of the unpredictable and sometimes perilous nature of the sea and the enduring allure of unsolved mysteries that capture our imagination. The disappearance of Joshua Slocum. On November 14th, 1909, or soon after, Joshua Slocum became the first person to sail around the globe by themselves. He was an American adventurer and sailor who was naturalized from Nova Scotia and was also a well-known writer. His travelogue, Sailing Alone Around the World, was published in 1900 and quickly rose to international bestseller status. When he vanished in November 1909, he was traveling in his boat, the Spray. On one of his customary winter journeys, Slocum sailed in the Spray from Vineyard Haven, Massachusetts, to the West Indies on November 14, 1909. Also, he had mentioned that he was eager to begin his next journey, which would involve visiting the Amazon, Rio Negro, and Orinoco rivers. Nobody ever heard from Slocum again. His wife reported to the newspapers in July 1910 that she thought he was lost at sea. Even though Slocum was a seasoned mariner, he never learned to swim and thought it was pointless to learn. This was a common idea among sailors, who believed that swimming was only practical in very close proximity to shore. The mysterious disappearance of Marie Empress. On Monday, October 27, 1919, the Orduna grounded at a Cunard Line wharf in New York City early in the afternoon. 11 days prior, the liner had left Liverpool, England, to embark on its transatlantic voyage, making a stop in Halifax, Nova Scotia, before sailing on to New York. When the ship proceeded up the Hudson River, a variety of common passengers, immigrants and VIPs were on board. Marie Empress, 35, was one of the most well-known names on the passenger list. Empress had made a name for herself as a singer, dancer, and dramatic actor on both sides of the Atlantic since her debut in British vaudeville the previous decade. On the Orduna that day, however, Marie Empress was not. The ship had already been searched 3 times by the crew. Newspapers all throughout the world reported on the Empress's disappearance. Reporters spoke with any crew members who agreed to be interviewed, as well as her fellow passengers. None turned out to be more chatty than an unidentified, thin, little grey-haired stewardess, whose story was published in numerous newspapers. On their final night at sea, the stewardess reported that she had taken dinner to Empress's stateroom and had gone back to clear the plates at 6:30 in the evening. She said that the Empress had requested her to return with sandwiches at 9:30. The stewardess left the sandwiches for her because Empress wasn't there when she returned at the scheduled hour. The stewardess discovered the food unfinished and that no one had slept in the bed the next morning. A reporter from William Randolph Hearst's International Feature Service was given access to the first-class cabin of Empress by the waitress. The reporter saw that the door of stateroom 480 opened onto an interior passageway. Far too small for a woman of Marie Empress's build to have passed through, the single porthole on it was only 13 inches in width. It was secured from the inside as well. At this hour of the evening, Marie Empress would have had to pass through multiple hallways where people were constantly arriving and going. The actress had a distinctive enough personality to ensure that she couldn't have slipped through unnoticed through the various salons she would have had to pass through, all of which were always at least half full. Empress would have had to pass by various stewards and officers, and finally, having gotten there, it seems almost impossible that she could have slipped unnoticed to the rail and thrown herself over in addition to navigating the crush of passengers. All the decks and promenades are brilliantly lighted until long past the hour when she must have disappeared from the ship, the writer wrote, making an unnoticed leap even less plausible. Other interesting details were provided by the chatty hostess. Throughout the journey, the Empress wore nothing but black, including a little hat with a big veil. Witnesses from other areas also commented about Empress's seeming happiness. She boarded the ship as lively as a cricket, and was looking forward with enthusiasm to another season among her American friends. Before long, the news coverage changed significantly. One newspaper made the prediction that she would soon appear at a theatre in New York, with a seaweed halo around her head, and an applauding public that loves to have a new one put over on it, recalling that she had participated in prior publicity stunts. Several sailors on the ship said that Miss Empress was known to have been about the upper deck in sailor uniform, and that she mingled with the crew the night before the ship made New York. A petty officer on the Orduna, who wished to remain nameless, offered a different interpretation of the notion to a reporter, stating that she might have hidden in the hold by dressing like a man. Her possessions included men's clothing. Perhaps she became bored with a woman's life and decided to spend some time in a man's for a change. Broadway press agents, who knew a thing or two about these kinds of scams, were among the first to support the fake theory. The New York Tribune triumphantly reported, that the mystery surrounding the missing Marie Empress has been solved. Marie is still very much alive, but nobody is meant to know just yet. In actuality, the press representative hasn't yet removed the cover. He wants no part of the greatest commercial coup ever to be taken advantage of. The dean of Broadway press agents, master of many a hoax, and former promoter of the escape artist Houdini, Walter J. Kingsley, was named by the Tribune as the person responsible for the act. The New York Daily Mirror, another entertainment publication, began making jokes about the PR stunt notion so quickly that it was generally accepted. Still, not everyone was in agreement. In the annals of cryptozoology, few encounters have captured the imagination and sparked as much speculation as the remarkable tale of Albert Ostman's encounter with Bigfoot. Ostman's story, recounted in vivid detail and with unwavering conviction, offers a tantalizing glimpse into the elusive world of the legendary creature known as Bigfoot or Sasquatch. From the rugged wilderness of British Columbia to the depths of human imagination, Ostman's account resonates with a sense of authenticity and intrigue that continues to fascinate believers and skeptics alike. In the year 1924, amidst the waning fervor of the gold rush era, Albert Ostman, a Swedish immigrant, embarked on a new adventure in gold prospecting. Following years of toil in construction and logging, Ostman sought a refreshing change. Intrigued by the tales of a nearby gold mine close to Toba Inlet in the vicinity of Vancouver, Canada, he saw this as an opportunity for both exploration and a chance to unwind. The picturesque setting of the area, adorned with lush green trees and encircled by majestic mountains, promised a serene escape from his prolonged stint in construction work. Engaging the services of a knowledgeable indigenous guide, Ostman was led to the head of the Toba Inlet while being regaled with captivating stories about the region. The guide's vivid narratives painted a vivid picture of the land and its history, immersing Ostman further into the allure of his surroundings. In a particular story, there was a mention of a fabled gold mine. It revolved around a Caucasian man who frequented the mine, known for his excessive drinking habits, yet he always seemed to possess an abundance of gold. However, on one occasion, he ventured into the mine and never returned. Local speculations arose, suggesting that a Sasquatch, a legendary ape-like creature, might have been responsible for his disappearance. Upon encountering a creature unknown to him, Ostman initially dismissed it as mere folklore. Subsequently, after his guide left him at a designated location near the inlet, he instructed the guide to return for him in 3 weeks, as he intended to camp there upon completing his prospecting expedition. Progressing further into the wilderness for about 10 miles in search of a rumored gold mine, Ostman eventually identified a prime location for his base camp. However, his tranquility was short-lived, for peculiar occurrences unfolded mere days later. Waking from a deep slumber one morning, Ostman was bewildered to find his campsite in disarray, despite hearing no disturbances the night before. An initial assumption of an animal's involvement was made to explain the unsettling events. On the second night of his camping expedition, Ostman discovered that his backpack had been emptied, with food clearly missing. Rather than venturing out in search of gold, he decided to remain at the camp, eager to catch a glimpse of the perpetrator. Despite his vigilance, nothing revealed itself. Determined not to fall asleep on the third night, Ostman was resolute in his efforts to uncover the mysteries shrouding his camp. Yet, his determination faltered as he succumbed to sleep. In the dead of night, he was abruptly roused from his slumber as an unseen force lifted him from the ground, still cocooned within his sleeping bag. The eerie events of that night left him both perplexed and anxious as he pondered the mysterious presence haunting his campsite. After enduring what he estimated to be a 3-hour ordeal of being forcibly moved and carried, Ostman was eventually released. He recounted hearing voices, a total of 4, conversing in an unfamiliar language. With the rising sun shedding light on his surroundings, he was able to observe them clearly. The group consisted of an elderly man, an elderly woman, as well as a young boy and a girl. The towering stature of the elderly woman, towering over 7 feet tall and weighing around 500 pounds, left a lasting impression on him. The elderly man, exceeding her in size, appeared formidable, leading Ostman to question the effectiveness of his firearm against such a massive being, concerned it might provoke aggression instead of providing protection. During his captivity within a secluded valley, the strange family of oversized, shaggy humanoids sustained him by occasionally offering sweet roots as sustenance. Initially reserved, the younger members gradually warmed up to Ostman, displaying curiosity about him. Engaging with them, he crafted makeshift ladles for them and entertained them with old snuff cans as toys, fostering a rapport that would later contribute to his devised escape strategy. While he had previously been told a tale about a man blinding a bull by casting snuff into its eyes, his encounter with Sasquatch provided a first-hand experience of the allure of snuff. Initially offering the young boy a snuff box containing a teaspoon of the substance, it became evident that both Sasquatch and the old man derived pleasure from its taste, eagerly returning for more. Realizing that the key to his escape lay in feeding the old man an entire box of snuff, Ostman observed the man's growing fascination with the product as he inched closer. This escalating interest culminated in the old man seizing a box, promptly emptying its contents into his mouth with a single gulp, and then meticulously licking the container clean. After some time had passed, the elderly gentleman started feeling unwell. Sensing an opportunity, Ostman swiftly seized the moment and fled. Brandishing his rifle, he fired off warning shots to cover his escape. Remarkably, no one pursued him. Descending the mountain, he eventually reached a camp situated nearby. Initially, Ostman simply informed the locals of his predicament, claiming he was lost, choosing to keep the encounter with the Sasquatch to himself out of fear of ridicule. It wasn't until much later that he divulged this detail, apprehensive of being labelled delusional. Consequently, he resolved never to venture into prospecting activities again, haunted by the unsettling experience. The notion of mysterious beings inhabiting the untamed wilderness has long captivated believers, with numerous recounts echoing this idea. Intriguingly, this narrative of encountering colossal humanoids towering over individuals is not a novel occurrence. However, scientists assert that without substantial evidence substantiating these claims, they cannot be regarded as established truths. This pervasive theme of encountering mysterious entities in remote areas continues to fascinate many, shedding light on the profound impact of these stories on those who claim to have experienced such encounters. Despite the allure of these tales, the scientific community remains hesitant to embrace them as verifiable facts until conclusive proof is forthcoming. Throughout history, numerous individuals have dubbed this particular incident as one of the most frightening episodes to date. They have emphasized that Albert Ostman, the central figure in this encounter, was characterized as a reserved and unassuming individual, which raises doubts regarding any potential fabrication of the details he recounted. According to reports, in his pursuit of a fulfilling life, he consistently shied away from seeking fame and instead prioritized simplicity. Albert Ostman's account is widely considered one of the most credible accounts involving a Bigfoot creature. One of the primary reasons for the difficulty in obtaining physical evidence of Bigfoot is the creature's elusive nature and mastery of its environment. Bigfoot is believed to be a highly intelligent and elusive creature, capable of evading detection and blending seamlessly into its natural surroundings. With its keen senses and instinctual awareness of its surroundings, Bigfoot has honed the art of stealth and camouflage to near perfection, making it exceedingly difficult for humans to capture definitive proof of its existence. Moreover, Bigfoot is believed to inhabit some of the most remote and inaccessible regions of North America, far from the prying eyes of civilization. The dense forests, rugged mountains, and vast swathes of wilderness that comprise Bigfoot's habitat are often impenetrable to all but the most determined and resourceful researchers. As a result, opportunities for direct encounters with Bigfoot are rare, and obtaining physical evidence such as hair, scat, or footprints can be exceedingly challenging. Even when physical evidence of Bigfoot is discovered, it is often subject to skepticism and scrutiny from the scientific community and mainstream media. In many cases, purported Bigfoot hair samples, footprints, or other matter have been dismissed as hoaxes or misidentifications of known animal species. Without rigorous scientific analysis and verification, it can be difficult to distinguish genuine evidence of Bigfoot from mundane or fabricated artifacts. Furthermore, the study of Bigfoot is hindered by the lack of consensus among researchers and investigators regarding the creature's taxonomy and classification. While some scientists believe that Bigfoot represents a distinct species of hominid or primate, Others argue that it may be a surviving remnant of an ancient ancestor or a previously undiscovered species of ape. Without a clear understanding of Bigfoot's taxonomic status, it is challenging to design effective research methodologies and protocols for obtaining physical evidence of the creature. In addition to these challenges, the stigma and skepticism surrounding the study of Bigfoot can deter serious researchers and scientists from dedicating time and resources to the investigation. Despite the growing body of anecdotal evidence and eyewitness accounts, Bigfoot remains a fringe topic in the scientific community, often relegated to the realm of pseudoscience or sensationalism. As a result, funding for Bigfoot research is scarce, and opportunities for rigorous scientific study are limited. Despite these obstacles, there have been instances where physical evidence of Bigfoot has been discovered, providing tantalizing glimpses into the creature's existence. One of the most compelling pieces of evidence is the famous Patterson-Gimlin film, captured in 1967, which purportedly shows a female Bigfoot walking through the forests of Northern California. While skeptics have attempted to debunk the film as a hoax, numerous experts have analyzed the footage and concluded that it is authentic and unaltered. Similarly, there have been numerous documented cases of Bigfoot footprints, hair samples, and fecal matter collected from various locations across North America. While some of these samples have been subjected to scientific analysis and found to be inconclusive, others have yielded intriguing results that defy easy explanation. For example, DNA analysis of purported Bigfoot hair samples has revealed sequences that do not match any known animal species, raising questions about their origin and authenticity. As of right now, the quest for physical evidence of Bigfoot is a challenging and complex endeavor that is fraught with obstacles and uncertainties. From the creature's elusive nature and mastery of its environment to the lack of consensus among researchers and the stigma surrounding the study of Bigfoot, there are numerous factors that have hindered efforts to obtain conclusive proof of its existence. Despite these challenges, there have been instances where physical evidence of Bigfoot has been discovered, providing tantalizing clues that continue to fuel speculation and debate about the creature's existence. As researchers continue to explore the wild places of North America in search of Bigfoot, the quest for definitive proof of its existence remains one of the greatest mysteries of the natural world. In the frozen expanse of Antarctica, a team of elite Navy SEALs embarked on a daring expedition, tasked with conducting reconnaissance in one of the most inhospitable environments on Earth. Little did they know that their mission would lead to a chilling encounter with a mysterious creature known as the Ningen. The story was shared to Reddit in response to a query about the strangest experiences encountered while serving in the military. As the Navy SEALs ventured deeper into the icy wilderness of Antarctica, they encountered a landscape unlike any they had seen before. The original poster reported that their Navy SEAL team was stationed in Antarctica for various reasons, primarily related to national security and scientific research. They added that Antarctica is governed by the Antarctic Treaty System, which aims to preserve the continent for peaceful purposes and scientific research. However, due to its vast and remote nature, it's still vulnerable to security threats, such as illegal fishing, poaching, or unauthorized access by foreign entities. They were also tasked with conducting surveillance, securing sensitive research facilities, and providing protection against potential threats to national security. Despite the harsh conditions, the team pressed on, driven by a sense of duty and the promise of discovery. Their mission was to survey a remote region of Antarctica, and armed with state-of-the-art equipment and years of training, the SEALs braved the elements, prepared for whatever challenges lay ahead. As the SEALs explored the desolate landscape, they stumbled upon a sight that defied explanation. A massive creature looming beneath the icy waters of a frozen lake. Towering over the surface, the creature's pale humanoid form sent shivers down their spines, its unearthly presence filling them with a sense of dread. The user described the creature as resembling a giant, albino humanoid with elongated limbs and a bulbous head. Its skin glistened in the pale light, its eyes devoid of emotion as it regarded the intruders with an otherworldly gaze. Frozen in awe and disbelief, the SEALs watched as the creature disappeared beneath the icy depths, leaving them shaken but determined to unravel the mystery of its existence. The individual mentioned that the interaction was brief, yet they were confident about the accuracy of what they observed. The fleeting nature of the encounter did not diminish the certainty they felt regarding their perception. The individual added that they have traveled to various locations across the world, and this was by far the most unusual experience they had encountered. Interestingly, users beneath the post commented that they had encountered the ningen, a creature of Japanese folklore that has long captured the imaginations of researchers. Described as a humanoid entity with aquatic features, the ningen is said to dwell in the icy waters of the Antarctic, emerging only rarely to be glimpsed by unsuspecting witnesses. While skeptics dismiss the ningen as a product of myth and imagination, eyewitness accounts and photographic evidence suggest otherwise. Reports of encounters with the creature date back decades, with sightings reported by fishermen, researchers, and explorers in the remote reaches of Antarctica. Some speculate that the ningen may be a previously unknown species adapted to the extreme conditions of the polar regions, while others believe it to be a paranormal entity or extraterrestrial being. Whatever its origins, the ningen remains one of cryptozoology's most intriguing mysteries, inspiring speculation and debate among researchers and enthusiasts around the world. The Navy SEALs' encounter with the ningen raises profound questions about the nature of life on Earth and the mysteries that lie hidden beneath the icy depths of Antarctica. According to the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, over 80% of the ocean remains unexplored. The estimated number of undiscovered ocean species is subject to ongoing research and debate among scientists, and it's widely accepted that over 1.7 million undiscovered ocean species remain. In the vast and chilling waters of Antarctica, an array of unique creatures thrives, unseen elsewhere across the globe. However, amidst this icy realm, an extraordinary being has been reportedly sighted, standing out with its nearly 90-foot frame and an eerie humanoid resemblance. This mysterious entity, often referred to as the ningen, adds an element of mystique, as if emerging from the depths of ancient myths and legends. The ningen's presence in the icy waters of Antarctica continues to bewilder and fascinate, fueling speculation and curiosity about its origins and significance in this frozen landscape. The colossal marine entity referred to as the ningen is commonly characterized as a gigantic, humanoid figure with a milky white complexion and fin-like protrusions resembling human limbs. Its skin bears a remarkable resemblance to the smooth, blubbery texture of a beluga whale. According to eyewitness accounts, this enigmatic creature is observed with two immense eyes positioned beneath its head and a wide, slit-shaped mouth, with no other discernible facial features reported thus far. Remarkably, witnesses have remarked on the nocturnal behavior of the ningen, suggesting that it is predominantly active during the nighttime hours. Reports indicate that most sightings occur after dark, implying that the ningen emerges to the surface under the cover of night, potentially foraging for food in the darkness or surfacing for respiration while evading detection. In the 1990s, a phenomenon known as the ningen started gaining attention when Japanese fishermen reported an extraordinary encounter with one of these mysterious beings. The incident occurred as they were navigating the icy waters of the Pacific under a serene moonlit sky. Initially, the crew mistook the massive white entity for a submarine surfacing dangerously close to their boat. However, upon closer inspection, they realized that it was no man-made steel structure, but a colossal living creature. The awe-struck fishermen, standing at the ship's side, were transfixed by the sheer size and paleness of this unfamiliar being. They were mesmerized as they observed it gliding gracefully and noiselessly across the ocean's surface before disappearing back into the cold, dark depths. This extraordinary sighting left the fishermen in a state of shock and wonder, forever etching the memory of the enigmatic ningen into their minds. After the initial sighting was reported, numerous other fishing vessels in the southern Pacific Ocean near the Arctic region began to share accounts of encountering these extraordinary and colossal beings. The consistent description provided by a multitude of credible sources depicted a remarkable sight. The enormous creature was characterized by its unusually large, pale white body, featuring two immense eyes positioned above a sizable slit-like mouth. Additionally, it possessed appendages resembling limbs, crudely similar to human arms and legs. Reports on the estimated size of these creatures varied significantly, ranging between 20 to 90 feet in length, which is slightly shorter than the impressive size of a blue whale. The sightings of these mysterious entities sparked curiosity and intrigue among those who witnessed them, prompting further exploration and investigation into these inexplicable phenomena. Amid the initial surge of reported sightings, doubts regarding the authenticity of the Ningen creature began to surface, sparking speculations of a possible hoax. Shortly thereafter, digitally manipulated images began circulating online, inundating forums and chat rooms. These images were accompanied by first-hand testimonies that slowly circulated, primarily through early email platforms, purportedly depicting genuine encounters. The proliferation of such tactics, coupled with early internet audiences, swiftly led to the widespread belief that the Ningen was not merely a figment of the imagination. Although some dismissed the existence of the Ningen as pure fantasy, there existed select pockets of individuals who steadfastly clung to the belief that the enigmatic being, possessing corporeal form, glided silently through the frigid Arctic waters. Despite the prevailing skepticism, these steadfast believers remained convinced that the Ningen was not a product of fiction, but a real entity navigating the icy depths. Since its initial discovery more than 3 decades ago, the mysterious being referred to as the Ningen has sparked widespread speculation, with many suggesting that it could be a case of mistaken identity involving a known species. Some researchers postulate that what witnesses have encountered might be a large, yet undiscovered, subspecies of albino ray or skate lurking in the frigid waters. The purported albino trait of this entity could serve as an evolutionary advantage, allowing it to blend in with the icy expanse of the Arctic environment. On the other hand, skeptics argue that those who have sighted the Ningen could be confusing it with familiar whale species like belugas or bowhead whales. However, much like other instances involving cryptids, the confirmation of the Ningen's existence remains elusive. A conclusive verdict regarding its reality hinges on the discovery of a physical specimen that unequivocally proves its existence, or on extensive scientific investigations that repeatedly fail to produce any evidence to support its presence. One of the most intriguing aspects of Ningen sightings is the consistency of witness descriptions across different accounts. Multiple individuals from diverse backgrounds and geographic locations have reported encountering a creature matching the Ningen's description, lending credibility to the phenomenon in the eyes of its proponents. These witnesses attest to the creature's imposing size, its ghostly appearance, and its seemingly sentient movements as it navigates the icy depths of its oceanic domain. Numerous theories have been proposed to explain the origin and nature of the Ningen, ranging from the plausible to the fantastical. Some suggest that the creature could be a previously undiscovered species adapted to the extreme conditions of the Antarctic environment, while others speculate that it may be a mutated or genetically engineered organism resulting from clandestine scientific experiments conducted in the region. Despite the skepticism and uncertainty surrounding the existence of the Ningen, its legend persists as a testament to humanity's enduring fascination with the mysteries of the natural world. Expeditions to Antarctica continue to search for evidence of this elusive cryptid, driven by a desire to uncover the truth behind the tales that have captured the imagination of so many. In the absence of definitive proof, believers and skeptics alike are left to ponder the enigma of the Ningen and the possibility of its existence in the uncharted depths of the Antarctic Ocean. Whether the creature is a real biological entity, a cultural phenomenon, or something altogether stranger, its legend endures as a reminder of the boundless wonders and mysteries that lie beneath the surface of our planet's most remote and inhospitable environments. The Earth's oceans cover over 70% of its surface, making them the largest and least explored part of our planet. Despite their immense size and importance to life on Earth, much of the ocean remains unexplored and unknown to us. One of the main reasons why so much of the ocean remains unexplored is the sheer difficulty of accessing and studying its depths. Unlike land-based environments, where researchers can easily travel and conduct studies, the ocean presents numerous challenges and obstacles that make exploration a daunting task. The immense pressure, extreme temperatures, and total darkness of the deep sea pose significant challenges to both humans and technology, limiting our ability to explore these remote and inhospitable environments. Furthermore, the ocean is home to a diverse array of habitats and ecosystems, ranging from shallow coastal waters to deep-sea trenches and hydrothermal vents. Each of these environments presents unique challenges and opportunities for exploration, requiring specialized equipment and expertise to study effectively. As a result, many areas of the ocean remain largely unexplored, with vast stretches of seafloor and underwater landscapes waiting to be discovered. In addition to the physical challenges of exploring the ocean, there are also logistical and financial barriers that limit our ability to conduct comprehensive studies. Oceanographic research expeditions require significant funding, resources, and planning, making it difficult for scientists to explore every corner of the ocean in detail. Limited access to advanced technology and research vessels further complicates efforts to study the deep sea, leaving many areas unexplored and understudied. In the late 1980s, Russian Navy divers were conducting routine training exercises in Lake Baikal, the world's deepest and oldest lake located in Siberia. However, what they discovered during one of their dives was anything but routine. Several of the divers reported encountering strange humanoid creatures, sparking intense interest and speculation about what they had seen. Siberia, a region in Russia, has been a long-standing site of reported UFO and extraterrestrial encounters for many generations. Among the notable locations in Siberia where such phenomena have been observed is Lake Baikal. This vast body of water is renowned for its unique ecosystem that harbors a multitude of rare species. The swimmers of Lake Baikal, at one point, instilled fear in Russian Navy divers, showcasing immense strength that tragically resulted in the passing of 3 divers due to decompression sickness. The Lake Baikal swimmers refer to a peculiar and mysterious group of aquatic humanoid beings that came into contact with Russian naval divers in the year 1982, creating a sense of intrigue and wonder. This intriguing encounter occurred amidst a routine military diving operation at the depth of 50 meters, equivalent to 164 feet, when the divers were suddenly intrigued by an unusual presence sharing the waters with them. The divers documented observations of beings with a human-like appearance, whose elongated bodies measured up to 3 meters or 9 feet long. Beyond their sheer size, the divers found other evidence indicating that the entities they came across were extraterrestrial in nature. These humanoid creatures were unlike anything seen on Earth, sparking intrigue and speculation about their origin and purpose. The depicted entities were characterized by their silver outlines, with certain entities adorned with see-through orbs atop their heads. These orbs have been likened to the appearance of an unfolded umbrella positioned above the creatures' heads. This description portrays a detailed depiction of the figures, emphasizing the distinct features that set them apart. After the divers emerged from the depths of Lake Baikal, they promptly relayed their astonishing discovery to a commanding officer. In response, the commander instructed the divers to plunge back into the icy waters and capture one of these mysterious aquatic beings. 7 brave divers descended into the lake once more, coming face to face with the mysterious Lake Baikal swimmers, who exhibited extraordinary strength by forcefully propelling the Soviet divers back to the surface. This remarkable encounter not only showcased the resilience of the divers, but also underscored the uncanny abilities of these elusive underwater creatures dwelling in the depths of Lake Baikal. Inadequate availability of decompression chambers along the shore resulted in a tragic situation where all 7 divers could not be accommodated, leaving 3 divers unfortunate enough to succumb to decompression sickness, also known as caisson disease or the bends. This unfortunate incident marked a deadly turn in the efforts to reach out to the Lake Baikal swimmers. The lack of resources to address decompression needs exposed the divers to the fatal consequences of their descent into the depths. Nikolai Kiriv, a resident fisherman in the quaint village of Kultuk, has recently shared an intriguing anecdote with local historians, recounting an unforgettable fishing expedition from the 1990s. As described by Kiriv, during a nocturnal fishing excursion with his companions, a remarkable and mystifying sight unfolded before their eyes. Allegedly, as they engaged in their fishing activities under the cover of night, they were astounded to witness strange occurrences in the tranquil waters of the lake. In the vast expanse of Lake Baikal, the fishermen faced a deep sense of fear when encountering mysterious creatures that threatened to overturn their boats, plunging them into the icy depths. Desperately attempting to ensnare one of these mysterious silver beings, by casting expansive nets into the frigid waters, the crew soon retreated back to the safety of the shore, shaken by the eerie encounter. This unsettling experience left an indelible mark on their psyches, dissuading them from ever venturing back to that particular area of Lake Baikal. In addition to the mentioned evidence, there exists a folklore tale revolving around a native farmer who recounted a narrative to a traveler regarding mythical pharaohs residing in the lake area. As per the folklore, these lake-dwelling pharaohs were believed to have caused the sinking of a boat, prompting the villagers to take action by casting nets into the waters and successfully hauling approximately 50 of these pharaohs onto the shore. This folklore not only adds a touch of mystique to the local legends, but also illustrates the deep-rooted beliefs and customs prevalent among the villagers in that region. In ancient folklore, the beings known as pharaohs were believed to possess a human-like appearance with heads, arms, hands, and legs, yet they also had paws and a fishtail. Legend has it that the villagers resorted to whipping these pharaohs with birch rods and then casting them back into the depths of the lake. This act of punishment was not just physical, it carried a powerful symbolic message. Following the severe beating, the pharaohs vanished from the land, never to be seen again. The reports in question, regarding the existence of humanoid entities, have never received official confirmation or denial from the government. These accounts have sparked a significant amount of speculation and intrigue within the paranormal community. Various theories have emerged to explain the origins of these humanoids. Some speculate that they might have been the outcome of clandestine experiments conducted by the government. On the other hand, alternative perspectives propose that these entities could potentially be extraterrestrial in nature, originating from outer space, or possibly remnants of an ancient civilization long lost in the annals of history. Interestingly, individuals residing in and visiting Lake Baikal have shared numerous accounts of witnessing mysterious phenomena in the nocturnal skies, or emanating from the profound waters of the lake, known for its pristine clarity. Observers have depicted these strange occurrences as radiant spheres or circular shapes, exuding a rhythmic luminescence that casts an ethereal light upon the surrounding landscape. These celestial manifestations, whether fleeting streaks amidst the stars or emerging from the abyssal depths below, have captivated the imaginations of onlookers and stirred a sense of wonder. In a captivating narrative, a collective of fishermen recounted a mesmerizing experience of encountering a sequence of luminous, unidentified flying objects suspended over the lake's serene surface while engaged in a recreational fishing venture. Their vivid description details how these mysterious objects radiated a gentle, rhythmic glow that gracefully traversed the shimmering waters before vanishing into the vast expanse of the nocturnal sky. This account not only highlights the intriguing nature of their observation, but also underscores the profound impact it had on their perspective of the world beyond their familiar realm. Reports have emerged about divers coming across luminous entities submerged in the depths of Lake Baikal. These entities are often described as glowing orbs or underwater vessels, displaying remarkable agility and elegance. Such encounters have stirred up discussions and conjectures within the scientific community and among enthusiasts, leading to intensified scrutiny and research efforts aimed at unraveling the mysteries surrounding these phenomena. The peculiar sightings of these luminous objects have triggered a wave of curiosity and fascination, prompting a more profound exploration into the true nature and possible origins of these strange occurrences. In the case of luminous, unidentified flying objects sighted above Lake Baikal, a renowned site veiled in mystery, the scientific community and scholars have postulated numerous hypotheses to elucidate these occurrences. Among the assorted theories put forth, one compelling idea posits that the radiating entities could potentially be attributed to inherent natural elements. These entities, possibly emanated by bioluminescent organisms or atmospheric plasma, are hypothesized to emanate light as a result of intricate chemical reactions or electromagnetic phenomena occurring within their milieu. In a more elaborate exploration of the phenomenon, an alternative explanation emerges, suggesting that the luminous, unidentified flying objects might be of human creation, possibly experimental aircraft or drones engaged in testing or surveillance activities near Lake Baikal. Nevertheless, this hypothesis falls short in explaining the remarkable nimbleness and dexterity observed by individuals who have witnessed these occurrences, prompting skepticism regarding its accuracy. The notion that these UFOs are intricately tied to terrestrial operations raises intriguing questions about the advanced technology and capabilities involved, challenging conventional understandings of aerial phenomena. A theoretical perspective that delves into speculation suggests that the luminous, unidentified flying objects might potentially originate from extraterrestrial sources, embodying sophisticated spacecraft or investigative devices venturing into the realms of Earth's oceans and skies. Despite the contentious nature of this hypothesis and its deficiency in empirical substantiation, it remains a notion that should not be summarily disregarded due to humanity's limited comprehension of the cosmos and the plausibility of life existing beyond our planetary boundaries. This viewpoint invites a profound examination of the possibility that these mysterious aerial phenomena could stem from civilizations or entities existing beyond Earth. Throughout the ongoing pursuit to unravel and elucidate the mystery surrounding the luminous, unidentified flying objects witnessed above Lake Baikal, the perplexing puzzle lingers unresolved, evoking profound fascination amongst both researchers and enthusiasts who are spellbound by these mysterious occurrences. The extensive volume and consistent nature of first-hand testimonies, in conjunction with the absence of definitive proof or elucidation, ignite conjecture regarding the genuine essence of these extraordinary events. Delving deeper into the intricate tapestry of factors contributing to the unexplained luminous UFO sightings over Lake Baikal reveals a complex web of strange elements that have confounded experts and amateurs alike. In the vast expanse of the world's oceans, fishermen brave the elements to cast their nets and lines in search of a bountiful catch. Yet, beneath the surface lies a realm of mystery and intrigue, where reports of encounters with unidentified submerged objects have captured the attention of seafarers for generations. For centuries, fishermen have reported sightings of strange and inexplicable phenomena beneath the waves, ranging from glowing lights and submerged craft to encounters with otherworldly beings. These encounters often occur in remote or deep-sea locations, far from the prying eyes of land dwellers and civilization. One such account comes from a group of fishermen off the coast of Japan, who claim to have witnessed a luminous object rising from the depths of the sea before vanishing into the sky. According to their testimony, the object emitted a pulsating glow that illuminated the surrounding waters with an ethereal radiance, leaving the fishermen in awe of the spectacle before them. Similarly, there have been reports of fishermen encountering submerged objects of unknown origin, which exhibit extraordinary agility and maneuverability beneath the waves. These objects are often described as disc-shaped or cylindrical, with metallic surfaces and smooth contours that defy conventional explanation. The encounters with USOs described by fishermen underscore the enduring allure of the unknown and the mysteries that lie hidden beneath the ocean's surface. For millennia, humans have been drawn to the sea, captivated by its vastness, its beauty, and its capacity to conceal secrets beyond imagination. The ocean's depths remain one of the least explored and understood regions of our planet, teeming with life and yet shrouded in darkness and mystery. From ancient legends of sea monsters and mermaids to modern tales of UFOs and underwater anomalies, the ocean continues to inspire wonder, curiosity, and fear in equal measure. Moreover, the encounters with USOs challenge our assumptions about the limits of human knowledge and our understanding of the natural world. As fishermen venture into the depths in search of fish and fortune, they are confronted with the possibility that they are not alone in the ocean, and that strange and mysterious beings or objects may lurk beneath the waves. The reports of USO encounters by fishermen raise profound questions about the nature and origin of these mysterious phenomena, as well as their potential significance for our understanding of the ocean's depths. While some skeptics dismiss the sightings as misidentifications or hoaxes, others argue that they represent genuine and unexplained anomalies that merit further investigation. From a scientific perspective, USO encounters provide an opportunity to study and document the behavior and characteristics of unknown objects or entities in the marine environment. By collecting eyewitness testimony, photographic evidence, and other data, researchers can begin to unravel the mysteries of the ocean's depths and shed light on the mysterious phenomena that inhabit its realm. Furthermore, USO encounters have implications for our broader understanding of the universe and the possibility of extraterrestrial life. While it is unlikely that all USOs are of extraterrestrial origin, the possibility that some may represent advanced technology or intelligent beings from other worlds cannot be dismissed outright. As of right now, the encounters of fishermen with unidentified submerged objects offer a tantalizing glimpse into the mysteries of the ocean's depths and the strange phenomena that inhabit its realm. From luminous lights and submerged craft to encounters with otherworldly beings, these experiences challenge our assumptions about the limits of human knowledge and our understanding of the natural world. The Book of Enoch, an ancient text attributed to the biblical figure Enoch, offers a fascinating glimpse into the mythology and cosmology of ancient Judeo-Christian tradition. Among its many accounts of celestial beings, angels, and apocalyptic visions, the Book of Enoch also contains references to mysterious creatures known as mermaids or sea monsters, which dwell in the depths of the oceans. According to the Book of Enoch, mermaids are described as hybrid beings with the upper body of a human and the lower body of a fish, reminiscent of the merfolk of folklore and legend. These aquatic creatures are said to inhabit the vast expanses of the oceans, where they dwell in hidden underwater realms and interact with other sea creatures. One of the most notable passages in the Book of Enoch that references mermaids is found in the Book of Watchers, which describes the descent of fallen angels to earth and their interactions with humanity. In this section, the fallen angels, also known as the Watchers, are said to have taught forbidden knowledge to humankind, including the art of cosmetics and adornment. Among the practices attributed to the Watchers is the breeding of hybrid beings, including mermaids, through their illicit union with human women. The Book of Enoch paints a vivid picture of the mermaids' role in the cosmic order, portraying them as mysterious and otherworldly creatures that inhabit the hidden depths of the oceans. These beings are depicted as possessing both human-like intelligence and aquatic prowess, capable of navigating the underwater realms with grace and agility. In addition to their physical attributes, mermaids in the Book of Enoch are also associated with themes of temptation, seduction, and spiritual corruption. According to the text, the presence of mermaids among human communities is seen as a sign of moral decay and spiritual decline, reflecting the influence of the fallen angels and their corrupting influence on humanity. Despite their mysterious and often ominous portrayal in the Book of Enoch, mermaids also serve as symbols of the vast and mysterious depths of the natural world. Their existence underscores the ancient belief in the interconnectedness of all living beings and the rich diversity of life forms that inhabit the Earth's oceans. Furthermore, the inclusion of mermaids in the Book of Enoch reflects the broader cultural fascination with these mythical creatures throughout history. Stories of mermaids have been passed down through oral tradition and folklore for centuries, captivating the imagination of people around the world and inspiring countless works of art, literature, and popular culture. One such text, now known as the Lost Book of the Bible, is that of the ancient religious scripture known as the Book of Enoch. Originally rejected for speaking of other powerful beings, known as the Watchers, the Book of Enoch and the story of Enoch is referenced several times throughout a number of different books in the Bible, such as Genesis, Hebrews, Jude, and many others. So what were the Watchers, and why did this lead to the rejection of the story from the canonical texts? According to the Book of Enoch, the Watchers were fallen angels that began teaching humans advanced technologies and magic. It is through these Watchers that Enoch experienced his visions that featured technologies comparable to the modern-day understanding of spacecraft. In fact, the Book of Enoch opens its texts with a direct explanation to the future, claiming that people in the time of Enoch will not be able to understand his visions of technology, and that it will only be understood by humans in the distant future, most likely referring to humans in the modern day with comparable technologies. The text says the following: "There was a righteous man whose eyes were opened by the Lord, and he saw a holy vision in the heavens, which the angels showed to me. And I heard everything from them, and I understood what I saw, but not for this generation, but for a distant generation that will come." End quote. Shortly after this statement, Enoch talks about his journey ascending into the sky and seeing the heavens firsthand. His account is written as follows: "Behold, clouds called me in the vision, and mist called me, and the path of the stars, and flashes of lightning hastened me and drove me. And in the vision, winds caused me to fly and hastened me and lifted me up into the sky. And I proceeded until I came near a wall which was made of hailstones, and a tongue of fire surrounded it, and it began to make me afraid." End quote. Could this passage found in the Book of Enoch be evidence of advanced alien craft witnessed by early man? Interestingly, Enoch describes that he ascended into a cloud that was hovering above him. This occurred after he saw flashes of lightning, an obvious reference to electricity, and then suddenly was lifted up into the sky by winds that began to surround him, which directly matches modern-day stories of individuals being lifted into the sky in a beam of light, which is attached to an unidentified flying object. When he entered the cloud, Enoch described tongues of fire, which seem eerily similar to the red and orange lights commonly seen on modern-day sightings of extraterrestrial craft. Shortly after being taken, Enoch talks about how the Watchers wished to teach him about the stars, and that the cloud they resided in began venturing out into deep space as Enoch recorded what he saw, trying to make sense of what he was witnessing. Enoch also gives accurate descriptions of what the stars look like when seen up close in space by describing his journey in the following statement. "And beyond this chasm, I saw a place, and it had neither the sky above it nor the foundation of earth below it. There was no water on it, and no birds, but it was a desert place. And a terrible thing I saw there, 7 stars, like great burning mountains." End quote. If you were a primitive human being with no way to compare the deep, endless darkness of space, would this fit an accurate description of what you witnessed? Interestingly, Enoch describes the stars as being much larger in person, something not traditionally known at the time, with ancient man believing that stars were nothing more than tiny lights that lit up the night sky. However, Enoch directly compares the stars to great burning mountains. If this experience fails to provide substantial proof as to Enoch traveling through the stars with the almost godlike Watchers, Enoch continues to explain what sounds almost like a black hole swallowing a dying star. In the scripture, the Book of Enoch describes, "And from there I went to another place, more terrible than this. And I saw a terrible thing. There was a great fire there, which burnt and blazed, and the place had a cleft reaching into the abyss, full of great pillars of fire, which were made to fall. Neither its extent nor its size could I see, nor could I see its source." End quote. Although most people can hardly imagine what a black hole would look like in person, a star falling into an abyss that had no bottom and of size that could not be seen with no source is one of the most accurate descriptions someone could give for a singularity. The description of a cleft reaching into the abyss is commonly how stars are swallowed, in large arcing orbits with long pillars of fire reaching in. When Enoch then began to show that he was terrified of the abyss, the Watchers explained that he should not be scared, and then went on to elaborate that the black hole was nothing more than a prison for angels. The Book of Enoch is one of the most mysterious texts to emerge from ancient literature. Comprising several works attributed to the biblical figure Enoch, this collection of writings offers a unique glimpse into the cosmology, theology, and esoteric wisdom of the ancient world. From its controversial authorship to its profound influence on later religious and mystical traditions, the mysteries of Enoch continue to fascinate scholars and seekers alike. Enoch, the protagonist of the Book of Genesis, is depicted as a righteous man who walked with God and was taken up to heaven. However, it is the apocryphal Book of Enoch that provides the most detailed and elaborate account of his mystical journey and encounters with celestial beings. This ancient text, composed primarily in Aramaic and Ethiopic, consists of several distinct works, including the Book of the Watchers, the Book of Parables, the Book of Astronomy, and the Book of Dreams. One of the most striking aspects of the Book of Enoch is its vivid depiction of the heavenly realms and the hierarchy of angels and archangels that populate them. According to Enochic literature, the cosmos is divided into multiple layers, with the earth situated at the center and the heavens above, each inhabited by different orders of celestial beings. These angelic beings, known as Watchers, serve as intermediaries between God and humanity, tasked with overseeing the affairs of the world and guiding human destiny. The Book of Enoch also delves into esoteric topics such as astronomy, astrology, and cosmology, presenting a complex and intricate vision of the universe. Enoch is portrayed as receiving divine revelations about the movements of the stars, the cycles of the seasons, and the mysteries of creation, offering profound insights into the nature of reality and the divine plan. Furthermore, the Book of Enoch contains prophetic visions and apocalyptic imagery that foretell the coming of a final judgment and the establishment of a new age of righteousness. These apocalyptic themes resonate with similar motifs found in other ancient religious texts, such as the Book of Revelation in the New Testament and the prophetic literature of Judaism and Christianity. Despite its profound influence on later religious traditions, the Book of Enoch was excluded from the canonical scriptures of Judaism and Christianity, deemed apocryphal and heretical by religious authorities. However, fragments of the text were preserved among the Dead Sea Scrolls, discovered in the caves of Qumran in the mid-20th century, sparking renewed interest and scholarly investigation into its origins and significance. The exploration of Mars has long captured the imagination of humanity, fueling speculation about the possibility of life beyond Earth. In the midst of this fascination, an intriguing claim emerged: a purported discovery of a skeleton in a photo taken by the Mars rover. The purported discovery of a dinosaur skeleton on Mars emerged when an amateur researcher scrutinized a photo captured by the Mars rover, highlighting what appeared to be the fossilized remains of a creature resembling a dinosaur. The photo, taken on the Martian surface, depicted a rocky landscape with distinctive formations that some interpreted as the skeletal remains of an ancient creature. The claim quickly gained traction online, capturing the attention of enthusiasts and skeptics alike. One user commented on the post, saying that it looks like a skeleton, adding that if you saw this photograph and weren't told that it was taken on Mars, you wouldn't question that it was anything else. The alleged discovery of a dinosaur skeleton on Mars ignited a firestorm of controversy and debate within the public sphere. While some embraced the possibility of life and the implications it carried for our understanding of the universe, others remained skeptical, calling for more conclusive evidence to substantiate the claim. Many users suggested that the possibility of dinosaurs inhabiting Mars is an intriguing concept that has been explored in both scientific discourse and popular imagination. One theory proposed by scientists is the concept of panspermia, which suggests that life could have been transferred between planets through meteorite impacts. If life originated on one planet and was ejected into space due to a cataclysmic event, it could potentially survive the journey within meteorites and colonize another planet. While speculative, this hypothesis raises the possibility that life, including dinosaur-like organisms, could have been transported to Mars from Earth or vice versa. In the realm of Mars anomaly investigation, a separate user has expressed fascination with this particular discovery, labeling it as one of the most distinct and discernible anomalies they have come across. They added that numerous photographs depicting peculiar occurrences on Mars tend to be obscure and challenging to decipher, but this anomaly stands out vividly, leaving no room for doubt regarding its presence. The individual who analyzed the anomaly further remarked on its clear visibility against the background, highlighting its striking contrast and undeniable uniqueness amidst the Martian landscape. Since the advent of space exploration, numerous robotic missions have been launched to study Mars, including orbiters, landers, and rovers. These missions have captured high-resolution images of the Martian surface, revealing a diverse and geologically complex landscape. Among the rocky terrain and dusty plains, anomalies have been identified, objects that stand out against the natural features of the Martian environment. These anomalies include structures resembling artificial objects, and while many of these features can be attributed to rocks or other phenomena, some anomalies defy easy explanation and raise intriguing questions about their origin. In recent years, Mars rovers such as Curiosity and Perseverance have provided scientists with unprecedented access to the Martian surface, allowing for detailed exploration and analysis of geological features. While these missions primarily focus on studying Mars geology and climate, they have also captured images of intriguing anomalies that defy easy explanation. Examples include objects resembling mechanical parts, metallic fragments, and even what appear to be fossilized remains. While many of these anomalies can be attributed to natural processes, such as erosion and weathering, others raise questions about the possibility of past or present life on Mars and the potential for ancient civilizations to have once inhabited the planet. On Mars, a mysterious emblem has been spotted that appears to be etched into a stone. Recently, the Mars Opportunity rover captured a picture that displays an object resembling the form of a cross, reminiscent of a Celtic or Irish cross. Many ancient civilizations utilized the Celtic cross and Irish cross designs even before the advent of Christianity. There have been various interpretations surrounding the purpose of the circular ring that encircles the cross. These explanations range from its connection to sun worship and symbolic significance to its aesthetic function of creating a more confined shape for the cross. Many individuals who have examined NASA images extensively contend that they may offer evidence to support the existence of a former civilization. However, some individuals remain unconvinced and argue that it appears to be a naturally occurring phenomenon. Over the years, there have been many reports of anomalous features and structures seen on the surface of Mars. While many of these anomalies can be explained by natural geological processes or human error, others have proven to be more difficult to explain and have fueled speculation about the possibility of ancient civilizations or even extraterrestrial life on the Red Planet. One of the most famous anomalies seen on Mars is the so-called face on Mars, which was first photographed by NASA's Viking 1 probe in 1976. Despite the debunking of many of these formations, there have been many other anomalies observed on the Red Planet that are more difficult to explain. For example, there have been many reports of strange, artificial-looking structures seen on the Martian surface, including pyramids, domes, and other geometric shapes. Some have even suggested that these structures could be evidence of an ancient Martian civilization or even a current civilization that is still living underground. Another anomalous feature seen on Mars is the so-called Mars rat, a small, rodent-like object that was photographed by NASA's Curiosity rover in 2015. While many scientists have argued that the rat is simply a rock that happens to resemble a small animal, others have suggested that it could be evidence of a small, surviving life form on the planet. Other anomalous features seen on Mars include strange lights and flashes, unusual clouds, and mysterious dust devils. While many of these phenomena can be explained by natural processes, others remain unexplained and have fueled speculation about the possibility of advanced life on the Red Planet. Despite the many anomalies seen on Mars, it is important to approach them with a critical eye and consider alternative explanations. While the idea of ancient civilizations or current life on Mars may seem exciting, it is important to remember that there is currently no direct evidence to support these claims, and that many of the anomalies seen on the planet can be explained by natural phenomena. Over the years, there have been many reports of unidentified objects seen in the skies above Mars. While some of these sightings may be explained by natural phenomena or human error, others have proven to be more difficult to explain and have fueled speculation about the possibility of advanced life. One of the most famous sightings on Mars occurred in 1959, when the Soviet Union's Mars 1 probe sent back images of what appeared to be a disc-shaped object hovering over the planet's surface. While some skeptics have argued that the object was simply a camera artifact or a trick of the light, others have suggested that it could have been a genuine unidentified object. Over the past few decades, scientists have made numerous breakthroughs in our understanding of Mars and have discovered a wealth of evidence that suggests the planet may have once been habitable. For example, NASA's Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter has detected large deposits of water ice just below the planet's surface, which could provide a vital resource for future human missions to the planet. Similarly, the Curiosity rover has detected organic molecules in Martian rocks, which could be a sign of past or present microbial life. As we continue to explore Mars and search for signs of life on other planets, it is important to maintain an open mind and approach the evidence with a critical eye. While the possibility of advanced life on Mars may seem tantalizing, it is important to remain cautious and skeptical and to consider alternative explanations for any unusual phenomena we observe. Ultimately, only through careful scientific investigation and collaboration can we hope to uncover the truth about mysterious aircrafts and other mysteries of the universe.
The vortices near Jupiter's North Pole. We have all seen the beautiful images captured by NASA of the other planets, and it's always astounding when a new, clearer image is revealed to the public. But what you might not have known is that these photographs are not just beautiful, they also serve to provide very important information about the planets, and this has never been truer as in the case of the new pictures of Jupiter, which have allowed for the discovery of vortices near the planet's north pole. NASA recently captured a new photograph of the planet through its JunoCam instrument, showing vortices near the North Pole that look as though they have been painted by watercolor. However, this deceitfully calming and alluring image is actually a culmination of chaotic and tumultuous storms that frequent and indeed make up the planet of Jupiter. The storms are hurricanes with wind patterns that can reach speeds of up to 30 miles in height and are spread across hundreds of miles of gaseous plains. Furthermore, the colours that we see are edited to enhance what we can perceive of the planet's atmosphere and surface. The gorgeous images NASA provides are often slightly altered and coloured in order to show the depths and shapes of Jupiter's storms, which would otherwise not be as clear and evident. The new photograph was taken at about 15,600 miles above Jupiter's cloud tops. It was then digitally altered and enhanced by scientist Brian Swift for the purposes of revealing these Jovian storms and analysing them. So while there are some pictures of Jupiter that look blue and others that are more reddish, in reality the actual colour of the spirals seen in those pictures are actually dependent on their directions and chemistry. The colour palettes of these storms differ depending on whether they are moving clockwise or counterclockwise in the planet's northern hemisphere or southern hemisphere. Jupiter's Great Red Spot, for example, is a storm in the southern hemisphere that moves counterclockwise. Besides the fascinating colour schemes, scientists are interested in learning more about Jupiter's stormy weather and finding more information about Jovian clouds and the fluid dynamics in the planet's atmosphere. NASA's Parker Solar Probe has captured the first visible light images of Venus. One of the amazing things about how we view space is the fact that we can paint a picture of certain areas in any number of wavelengths that can each tell us something unique about the area which we are attempting to learn about. Capturing these observations outside of the spectrum of visible light means that sometimes it can be hard to see elements of space as they truly are, and to paint a picture that is representative of how they would look if they could be seen in person. Recently, researchers solved this dilemma with one element of space, the mysterious and cloudy Venus, whose thick atmospheric cover means that its surface is usually thoroughly shielded from view. But recent analysis has confirmed that images taken in 2 flybys of Venus by NASA's Parker Solar Probe captured some of the first visible light images of the night side of Venus using its wide field imager. The images were combined into a video that reveals how truly varied and interesting the elusive surface of Venus truly is. The images show a lightly glowing oxygenated atmosphere that sheds a soft light onto a surface riddled with what appears to be continental landmasses, complete with everything from plains to plateaus. Study of Venus is incredibly important to researchers, and analysis of these images stands to provide significant advances to scientists' understanding of this prominent planet occasionally referred to as Earth's twin. Because Venus is a major player in the search for extraterrestrial life forms, as well as the understanding of how the solar system formed, astronomers are deeply interested in the more detailed composition of the icy planet, as well as clues as to why Venus developed into a frigid wasteland while Earth became teeming with life. Brian Wood, with the Naval Research Laboratory and lead author of the study detailing these results, said, "Venus is the 3rd brightest thing in the sky, but until recently we have not had much information on what the surface looked like because our view of it is blocked by a thick atmosphere. Now, we finally are seeing the surface in visible wavelengths for the first time from space. What is even more exciting is that this discovery was entirely unexpected, as the wide field imager had just been deployed to take photographs of the famously dense swirl of clouds atop the planet to measure the speed at which they moved. It was not thought that the technology would have the capabilities to see deeper into the planet. Thus, the photographs were a happy surprise for researchers, as the night side of the planet lined up perfectly with the camera lens of the spacecraft, so that the longest wavelengths of the visible light spectrum were able to penetrate the clouds. Hopefully, this information can be used to get to the bottom of the mysteries cloaking Venus.
In a captivating story that has been circulating on various social media platforms, there is an account of a team of fishermen who fixed a camera to a shark's fin, leading to an unexpected revelation. The fishermen, intrigued by the underwater realm, decided to equip a shark with a camera to gain unique insights into the marine world. The fishermen stated that their initial motivation for doing this was rooted in their desire to get a glimpse into the mysterious realm below the ocean's surface. They believed that attaching a camera to the shark would provide them with a unique perspective on the shark's exploration of uncharted waters. This decision was driven by their curiosity and fascination with the secrets hidden beneath the waves. By equipping the shark with a camera, they hoped to witness firsthand the captivating journey of the shark as it ventured into unfamiliar territories. As the passage of time unfolded, the fishermen were filled with anticipation, eagerly anticipating the reappearance of their subaquatic explorer. Eventually, to their delight, it emerged from the depths, its streamlined silhouette piercing through the water's surface in a moment of triumph. Upon recovering the camera attached to the shark's fin, their anticipation grew as they eagerly awaited to uncover the contents it had recorded. Upon reviewing the recordings obtained from the camera, a sense of astonishment swept over them, manifesting in the widening of their eyes, unable to believe what they were witnessing. On the display in front of them appeared an extraordinary being that defied all familiarity, a being with a striking resemblance to a mermaid. The creature's presence was unlike anything they had seen before. Upon initial inspection, observers initially speculated that the unfamiliar aquatic creature in question might have been a dolphin due to its general shape. However, upon further examination, it became apparent that this assumption was incorrect. The creature's tail was notably broader than that of a typical dolphin, leading the observers to rule out the possibility of it being a dolphin. Moreover, upon closer scrutiny, the overall body structure of the mysterious sea creature bore a closer resemblance to that of a human. The mysterious creature made a fleeting appearance, visible only in 3 frames, prompting the observers to speculate that it must have been moving swiftly through the water. Following the online posting of the images, surprisingly, individuals began recounting their personal experiences involving purported encounters with sirens. During a conversation, an individual engaged in a discussion with her father regarding the mysterious aspects of the oceans, stating that they got on the topic of cryptids. These are creatures that are rumored to exist, but have yet to be scientifically proven. Her father was employed by the United States Navy, and as time passed, he began sharing intriguing details about the mysterious occurrences they had encountered during his service. This disclosure shed light on a realm of secrecy and intrigue previously unknown to his family. The father elaborated extensively on the mysterious nature of the ocean, recounting his experiences of being surrounded by an eerie atmosphere while venturing into its depths. In the heart of the ocean, he encountered perplexing phenomena that left him unsettled. Among these encounters, he frequently mentioned the inexplicable sounds of whistles and voices that seemed to emanate from the unknown depths. Even to this day, he remains puzzled by these occurrences, unable to offer a rational explanation for the unsettling auditory experiences. The daughter proceeded to mention that her father journeyed to the Philippines, where he encountered and became acquainted with various local legends that were shared with him during his time there. Exploring the rich cultural tapestry of the region, he immersed himself in the stories and traditions that have been passed down through generations. As per accounts, he engaged in a conversation with a woman from the area who proceeded to narrate her experience of an encounter with a mysterious aquatic creature. The tale unfolded when she was exploring the waters, and to her surprise, she stumbled upon a being unlike any she had ever seen before. In the detailed account provided, she depicted the entity as measuring 7 feet in length. It was characterized by a pair of sizable black eyes, hands with prominent webbing and sharp claws, a humanoid form, and a countenance that bore a striking resemblance to that of a demon. This vivid description not only highlighted the physical attributes of the creature, but also delved into its eerie and formidable appearance. Upon her return home on a boat, an unusual incident transpired. A sudden, resounding noise caught her attention, indicating a collision with an unknown object. It wasn't an uncommon occurrence for her to encounter marine litter or drifting debris in the ocean. However, upon investigating the source of the disturbance, she was startled by the sight of two large black eyes meeting hers. The unexpected encounter prompted her to release a piercing scream, filled with fear and uncertainty, before swiftly retreating from the scene, unwilling to linger in the presence of the mysterious creature. The unsettling experience left her pondering the mysteries that lie beneath the surface of the vast ocean, where the unknown and unexpected could lurk, waiting to surprise those who sail its waters. The father found himself deeply intrigued by the captivating story, struggling to comprehend the experiences described by the mysterious woman. This led him to embark on a quest for answers, delving into the realm of myths and legends surrounding these mysterious creatures. When he inquired about these beings, he was met with unexpected reactions. Instead of being ridiculed, he encountered resistance, with people discouraging his pursuit of such inquiries. Rather than dissuade him, this only fueled his curiosity, propelling him into conducting his own thorough investigations. Although he refrained from pursuing this interest in his professional life, he devoted a significant amount of personal time to unraveling the mysteries surrounding aquatic humanoids. Convinced by the tales he encountered during his research, he began entertaining the possibility of these creatures' existence. When his daughter probed whether the Navy could be informed about these phenomena, he paused, reflecting on the intricate workings of military divisions. He pondered about the likelihood of the Navy investigating unexplained phenomena, including unidentified objects and peculiar occurrences in the maritime domain. For centuries, sailors and seafarers have regaled tales of captivating creatures that dwell beneath the waves, the mermaids. Often dismissed as mere myths and legends, these enchanting beings have captured the imaginations of countless individuals across cultures and continents. The lore of mermaids dates back to ancient times, with stories of half-human, half-fish creatures found in the mythologies of cultures around the world. From the sirens of Greek mythology to the Ningyo of Japanese folklore, mermaid-like beings have been depicted in art, literature, and oral traditions for millennia. But it is not just in ancient myths and legends that mermaids have been sighted. Throughout history, there have been numerous documented accounts of encounters with these mysterious beings, particularly by sailors and fishermen who spend their lives on the open seas. Despite advances in science and technology, reports of mermaid sightings continue to surface in modern times. These encounters often occur in remote coastal areas or isolated islands, where human activity is minimal and the ocean's depths remain largely unexplored. Witnesses describe seeing humanoid figures with fish-like tails swimming gracefully through the water, their long hair flowing behind them as they glide effortlessly through the waves. Some accounts even speak of interactions with mermaids, including exchanges of gestures or vocalizations that suggest communication between humans and these mysterious beings. Despite advances in marine exploration and technology, the majority of Earth's oceans remain a frontier waiting to be explored. Only a fraction of the ocean floor has been mapped and studied in detail, leaving vast areas shrouded in mystery and uncertainty. These uncharted regions, characterized by deep-sea trenches, underwater mountains, and remote abyssal plains, offer potential habitats for undiscovered marine life forms, including those that may resemble the mythical mermaids. In the absence of comprehensive exploration, it is conceivable that mermaids could exist undetected in these remote and inaccessible environments. The ocean is home to an astonishing array of life forms, from microscopic plankton to massive whales. Many of these organisms have evolved to thrive in extreme and inhospitable environments, adapting to the pressures of deep-sea darkness, extreme temperatures, and crushing pressures. In light of these adaptations, it is not implausible to imagine that mermaids, if they exist, have similarly adapted to their underwater habitat. Their humanoid form may have evolved to withstand the challenges of oceanic life, including the ability to breathe underwater, navigate ocean currents, and communicate through complex vocalizations. Throughout history, new species of marine life have been discovered in the ocean's depths, challenging our understanding of marine biodiversity and evolution. From the bizarre anglerfish with its bioluminescent lure to the elusive giant squid lurking in the abyssal depths, the ocean is teeming with cryptic and mysterious creatures waiting to be discovered. In this context, the existence of mermaids as real and genuine beings is not entirely out of the realm of possibility. While evidence for their existence remains anecdotal and speculative, The discovery of new species and the exploration of uncharted ocean depths offer tantalizing opportunities for further investigation into the existence of mermaids. As of right now, the theoretical existence of mermaids as real and genuine beings is a compelling subject that raises intriguing questions about the unexplored depths of the ocean. While evidence for their existence remains elusive, the vastness of uncharted marine environments and the adaptability of marine life forms offer a plausible basis for further exploration and investigation. In the year 2013, an individual shared an interesting discovery on a social networking platform regarding a mysterious finding that captured their attention. An individual, referred to simply as a friend of someone self-identifying as Tramstop Dan, stumbled upon an unassuming box either amidst or in close proximity to discarded items on a street in the vicinity of Asheville, North Carolina, within the United States. To the discoverer's surprise, the box was found to be filled with peculiar illustrations that revolved around an incident documented as the Tampa Bay Obscuration. Following this discovery, Mr. Tramstop Dan shared the illustrations in 2 separate online releases, where they have since garnered attention within the obscure realms of the internet. The quality and intriguing nature of these illustrations have led to their resharing in various online platforms. The assemblage has gained a colloquial reputation as the Box of Crazy due to its contents, comprising illustrations and various documents that blend visionary and religious themes with elements of mad science, presenting a perplexing amalgamation. While some of the materials date back to the 1930s, the majority revolves around quasi-religious revelations rooted in the Tampa Bay region in more recent periods. The core themes of these visions, as depicted in the prominent illustrations, revolve around the biblical narrative of Ezekiel. This intriguing collection, sometimes known as the Ezekiel Box, hints at a fascinating tapestry of historical and religious facets, offering a unique insight into the convergence of visionary narratives and unconventional scientific ideas. The intricacies embedded within these materials not only reflect a deep-rooted connection to the past, but also underscore the strange allure of these esoteric artifacts that continue to intrigue and puzzle scholars and enthusiasts alike. Investigating the origin of the box, we find a range of documents and artworks bearing the signature of Daniel Christiansen, along with some signed by a mysterious individual going by the name Nesna Itzirsi, a clever play on words with the name Christiansen spelled in reverse. It is logical to infer that the box belonged to this individual. Through meticulous examination of the internal clues and a bit of sleuthing, we can attribute it to a certain Daniel Samuel Christiansen, who resided in St. Petersburg, Florida. Born on November 27, 1904, and passing away on September 26, 1994, Mr. Christiansen is known to have immigrated to the United States via England in 1927. However, beyond these facts, little else is documented about his life. Particularly intriguing is the mystery surrounding how his mysterious box of crazy found its way to a roadside near Asheville, North Carolina, over 10 years after his demise, as recounted by Mr. Tramstop Dan's intriguing tale. In the cache, there lie intriguing contents. Delving into the intricacies of the Tampa Bay Obscuration proves to be a challenging task due to its elusive nature. Mr. Christiansen recollects an extraordinary event that he interprets as a fusion of a UFO encounter and a religious experience in Tampa Bay. He draws parallels between his encounter and the prophetic writings of the Book of Ezekiel, albeit his personal annotations on the event remain a mystery. Detailed depictions of the encounter, including the mysterious living creatures akin to those described in the visions of Ezekiel, are presented. The occurrence of the Tampa Bay Obscuration is pinpointed to the mystical date of July 7, 1977, adding an aura of mystique to the narrative. This narrative offers a profound exploration into the convergence of supernatural encounters and spiritual interpretations, shedding light on the mysterious realm of experiences that transcend conventional understanding. The investigation conducted by a number of researchers has uncovered that a laser spectacle took place at Tampa Bay on that specific day. While some suggest that Mr. Christiansen mistook this event for an alien encounter due to the show, the evidence stored in the Box of Crazy surpasses a mere misinterpretation of a laser presentation. It is plausible that the light exhibition may have triggered visionary experiences in Christiansen, although this wouldn't have been the first instance. The meticulous contents of the box, portray a lifelong commitment to exploring the correlations between the biblical passages of Ezekiel and a myriad of peculiar contemporary occurrences. The Tampa Bay incident holds particular significance in this narrative, indicating a pattern of events rather than a standalone occurrence. This discovery sheds light on the in-depth involvement of Mr. Christiansen in delving into the intricate web of connections between ancient scriptures and anomalous events, suggesting a profound intellectual pursuit that transcends mere curiosity. In delving into the realms of the strange Merkabah mysteries of the Old Testament through a personal and idiosyncratic lens, it becomes apparent that the discourse intertwines with discussions on extraterrestrial phenomena and advanced futuristic technologies. While the association of Ezekiel's narrative with the concept of ancient aliens and the chariots of the gods theory is not novel, Christiansen presents a distinctive and singular interpretation, reflecting a lifelong dedication to unraveling its complexities. Furthermore, his elucidation of this subject is accompanied by an impressive display of artistic talent, evident in the meticulously crafted technical drawings that accompany his work. Christiansen's exploration not only sheds light on the intersections between ancient scriptures and modern beliefs, but also underscores his adeptness as an illustrator and his commitment to exploring the intricate details that underpin these mystifying narratives. The essential conclusion drawn from the discussions on the Ezekiel visions is that, as per the author's perspective, the vision remained incomprehensible until recent years due to what was referred to as a cloud of obscuration, or a cloud of concealment. Intriguingly, the author also demonstrates a keen interest in unusual meteorological occurrences. However, in current times, it appears that long-standing mysteries are gradually coming to light. This viewpoint becomes apparent in a particular document cited below. Contrary to the belief that the visions of Ezekiel were mere hallucinations, the argument posited is that, when viewed through the lens of contemporary understanding, they provide a remarkably accurate portrayal of advanced extraterrestrial technology. This detailed analysis delves into the intricate nuances of the Ezekiel visions, unveiling a fresh interpretation that sheds light on their true significance. Intriguingly, Christiansen displays a fascination with unconventional technology and appears to have even experimented with such innovations. A notable inclusion among his possessions is a round disc bearing a strange inscription arranged in the shape of a spiral. This denotes his keen involvement in exploring and possibly creating devices that deviate from the conventional norm. Daniel Samuel Christiansen's work can be viewed through the lens of eccentric American folk art, representing a unique facet of modern Americana. The contents of his mysterious box, along with its background, remain shrouded in mystery, awaiting a comprehensive unveiling. A notable revelation surfaces when examining the timeline of the documents, indicating that Christiansen delved into the UFO Ezekiel theory even before the advent of World War II. This predates the widespread UFO phenomena and includes his accounts of encounters and sightings in the 1940s, preceding the public's awareness of notable UFO sightings. It is noteworthy that his UFO Ezekiel theory precedes the postulations of renowned figures, positioning Christiansen as a visionary in this domain. However, this fascination appears to have been confined to his personal sphere, shared exclusively with his wife and a select few. The disclosure of his peculiar obsession only surfaced when a passerby, a friend of Tramstop Dan, stumbled upon the intriguing box of crazy abandoned near Asheville. Daniel Samuel Christiansen emerges as a trailblazer in the realm of unconventional beliefs, with his legacy preserved through this unconventional discovery. The Vatican has demonstrated an intriguing openness towards the existence of extraterrestrial life forms, as several biblical texts mention peculiar beings that some believe bear resemblance to descriptions of aliens. This stance by the Vatican has sparked discussions and fueled speculations regarding the interconnection between religious narratives and the possibility of life beyond Earth. The Vatican City, known as the epicenter of the Roman Catholic Church and the residence of the highly esteemed spiritual figure on the globe, the Pope, has always captivated the curiosity of many. While some may primarily link it to St. Peter's Square, the Pope's public appearances from his residence, and the remarkable Renaissance masterpieces created by Italian artists, there exists a realm of secrecy and intrigue concealed from the public eye. Beyond the grand facade lies a realm of intricate procedures, confidential discussions, and significant decision-making that shape the course of the Catholic Church's operations. The Vatican's significance extends far beyond its awe-inspiring architectural wonders and artistic treasures, encompassing a complex tapestry of traditions, rituals, and governance that govern the world's largest Christian denomination. It is intriguing to consider how such a phenomenon managed to stay concealed for such a prolonged period, and the enigmatic secrets it might contain. The Vatican City possesses two primary sources of power. Firstly, it boasts significant wealth, estimated to range between $10 to $15 billion in assets and investments. Additionally, it wields influence through a vast global network comprising more than 1 billion devoted followers worldwide. The combination of this expansive network and substantial financial resources undoubtedly bestows a considerable amount of power upon the Vatican. This power is not solely derived from its monetary wealth, but is also deeply rooted in the widespread support and loyalty of its extensive follower base. Through its intricate network of believers and substantial financial backing, the Vatican holds a prominent position of influence on both a national and international scale. The influence held by the Vatican is significant and noteworthy, considering its long-standing presence dating back to the 4th century. Over the span of 7 centuries, this religious entity has intertwined itself deeply within the beliefs of its followers and the foundation of our societal norms. It is highly probable that throughout its history, the Vatican has encountered numerous undisclosed revelations about humanity and safeguarded this knowledge within its confines. This enduring institution has likely accumulated a wealth of undisclosed information over the centuries, which it has likely safeguarded and preserved, further deepening its enigmatic aura and historical significance. Within the confines of the Vatican City lies a repository of profound mysteries, the Vatican's secret archives, a treasure trove of historical relics and confidential materials spanning millennia. This clandestine collection comprises an extensive assortment of documents, governmental records, and personal communications meticulously preserved over countless generations. It serves as a testament to the evolution of human civilization, encapsulating the very essence of our collective history and experiences. Since the onset of the 19th century, accessibility to these historical archives for research purposes has progressively increased, resulting in a reduced level of secrecy surrounding them. Despite the perception that the Vatican has divulged all its secrets, the truth is far from that assumption. A significant portion of the archives is inaccessible and shrouded in secrecy. If one were to gain access and conduct a thorough exploration, there could be a plethora of astonishing enigmas waiting to be uncovered. The Vatican's hidden realms hold a trove of undisclosed information, hinting at a labyrinth of undiscovered truths and mysteries. The presence of extraterrestrial life forms is not a concept typically associated with mainstream religious institutions, least of all the Vatican. Over centuries, the Vatican has devoted significant time to gazing skyward in contemplation and supplication. Given the extensive duration of this spiritual practice, one may wonder if Vatican scientists have chanced upon any significant discoveries or encounters that hint at the existence of advanced life beyond our planet. Recent findings suggest the possibility that the Vatican possesses compelling evidence regarding the existence of highly developed extraterrestrial life forms. Moreover, there are speculations that the Vatican authorities could potentially be concealing these unearthly entities from the general public. In an interview, Dr. Jose Funes, the director of the Vatican Observatory, expressed the immense scale of the universe, suggesting that the evolution of life akin to what we observe on Earth could potentially occur. Dr. Funes posited that the vastness of the cosmos opens up the intriguing possibility of life forms developing in a manner similar to terrestrial life. The acknowledgement of the potential existence of extraterrestrial life by Vatican officials marks a significant shift in their long-standing position. This departure from their traditional stance, which outright denied the existence of aliens, is unprecedented and raises questions about the catalyst behind such a momentous reversal in Vatican doctrine, which has been upheld for over 2 millennia. Speculation abounds that concrete evidence supporting the presence of intelligent life forms from other planets may have prompted this paradigm shift within the Vatican. Intriguingly, the Vatican's investment in the Pontifical Academy of Sciences, a prestigious and well-funded institution focused on astronomical studies, adds weight to these speculations. This intriguing development warrants further exploration and contemplation, shedding light on the Vatican's evolving perspective on the possibility of life beyond Earth. In the year 1998, speculations arose claiming the discovery of skulls characterized by elongated heads and diminutive faces, purportedly originating from extraterrestrial beings or unidentified species untraceable to Earth. Allegedly unearthed beneath the Vatican Library, this controversial assertion has faced consistent repudiation over time, accompanied by restricted access to the alleged excavation site. The contentious narrative suggesting the presence of non-human entities within the Vatican's confines has been staunchly refuted. However, the persistent rumors hint at a clandestine acknowledgement by the Vatican of the existence of advanced life forms shrouded in secrecy. This intriguing claim, shrouded in mystery, has sparked debates and fueled speculations within certain circles, questioning the Vatican's potential involvement in concealing knowledge about an otherworldly presence. The Salyut 7 Angels, a mysterious phenomenon that occurred during a pivotal moment in space exploration history, continues to captivate the imagination of enthusiasts and researchers alike. Nestled within the annals of Soviet space missions, this mysterious encounter unfolded aboard the Salyut 7 space station, adding a surreal dimension to humanity's quest for celestial exploration. The story begins in February 1984, when the Soviet Union launched the Salyut 7 space station into orbit, marking the latest chapter in its ambitious space program. Manned by cosmonauts Leonid Kizim and Vladimir Solovyov, the mission aimed to conduct scientific experiments and advance Soviet capabilities in space technology. However, what transpired during their mission would defy explanation and evoke profound questions about the nature of reality itself. As the cosmonauts conducted their routine operations aboard Salyut 7, they encountered a series of inexplicable phenomena that defied rational explanation. Described as shimmering angelic beings with luminous wings, these ethereal apparitions appeared to manifest within the confines of the space station itself, leaving the crew astonished and perplexed. Witnesses reported feeling a sense of awe and wonder in the presence of these celestial visitors, whose appearance seemed to transcend the boundaries of conventional reality. During their space mission, Commander Oleg Atkov and cosmonauts Vladimir Solovyov and Leonid Kizim reported a remarkable phenomenon aboard the space station. The entire station was enveloped in a captivating orange glow that seemed to permeate through its seemingly impenetrable walls from the outside. This stunning visual display not only illuminated the interior of the station, but also created an otherworldly ambience for the crew. In a brief spell, the intense orange light dazzled the crew members on board. As their eyes gradually adjusted, they peered through the portholes in search of the origin of this luminous phenomenon, their focus honing in on a potential catastrophic explosion. Aware of Salyut 7's history of encountering fires, the crew braced themselves for the worst, expecting the unexpected. What unfolded before them, however, surpassed mere comprehension and ventured into the realm of the inexplicable. The scene that greeted their eyes transcended the mere brightness of the light, sparking a myriad of questions and deepening the mystery shrouding the eerie glow. In an extraordinary encounter, every cosmonaut aboard the space station observed the distinct presence of 7 angelic figures positioned just beyond the outer reaches of the station. Describing them to ground control, the astronauts detailed these beings as having a humanoid semblance with human-like faces and bodies, distinguished by the presence of wings and halos. Astonishingly, these ethereal entities maintained perfect synchrony with the space station for a span of 10 minutes, displaying a level of phenomena beyond earthly comprehension. Following day 167 of their mission, the crew on board the Salyut 7 spacecraft welcomed a new team comprising Svetlana Savitskaya, Igor Volk, and Vladimir Janibekov from the Soyuz T-12 spacecraft. Upon their arrival, a mysterious phenomenon occurred as the space station was enveloped in a radiant orange glow, casting a surreal ambience within its confines. Promptly after the occurrence, the astronauts gazed out of the windows only to witness the presence of ethereal beings described as colossal in size, akin to that of an airliner, as recounted by the cosmonauts. This extraordinary encounter was shrouded in secrecy by the former Soviet Union, imposing a strict prohibition on the crew from divulging any details of the incident to the public domain. It was noted by all the astronauts that they witnessed what they described as a smiling angel during their space mission. While certain individuals might attribute this sighting to fatigue resulting from their prolonged duration in space, it is important to highlight the fact that multiple crew members observed these entities. Following this peculiar occurrence, the crew remained aboard the spacecraft for an unprecedented 237 days before ultimately vacating it. This incident raised intriguing questions and sparked discussions regarding the nature of their experience. The astronauts' collective encounter with the strange entity added an element of mystery to their mission and left a lasting impression on their memories. The astronauts aboard the spacecraft were momentarily engulfed by an intensely bright light that rendered them temporarily blind. Bewildered by the unexpected occurrence, once their vision gradually readjusted, they anxiously peered through the windows, scanning the vast expanse of space in search of the origin of the blinding luminosity. One prevailing theory posits that the Salyut 7 angels may have been a manifestation of the collective unconscious, a symbolic expression of humanity's aspirations and fears projected onto the blank canvas of space. In this view, the space station served as a vessel for the exploration of inner and outer worlds, blurring the boundaries between the material and the metaphysical. Regardless of the explanations offered, the legacy of the Salyut 7 angels endures as a testament to the enduring mystery of the cosmos and the boundless potential of human exploration. Whether viewed through the lens of science, spirituality, or the uncharted territories of the human psyche, the strange encounter aboard the Salyut 7 space station serves as a reminder of the profound mysteries that lie beyond the reach of our understanding. As we continue our journey into the depths of space, propelled by curiosity and the quest for knowledge, the Salyut 7 angels stand as a haunting reminder of the vastness of the unknown and the tantalizing possibility of encounters beyond our wildest dreams. In the timeless expanse of the cosmos, where mysteries abound and wonders await discovery, the legacy of the Salyut 7 angels serves as a beacon of inspiration for future generations of explorers and seekers of truth. In the annals of space exploration, there exists a collection of awe-inspiring accounts that transcend the ordinary boundaries of human experience. Among these remarkable tales are the sightings of angel-shaped objects reported by astronauts during their journeys beyond Earth's atmosphere. These encounters, characterized by the appearance of ethereal beings with wings outstretched, evoke a sense of wonder and curiosity about the mysteries of the cosmos. Throughout the history of space exploration, astronauts from various space agencies have documented sightings of angel-shaped objects while traversing the vast expanse of outer space. These celestial apparitions, described as shimmering figures bathed in radiant light, have been observed during spacewalks, from the windows of spacecraft, and even while orbiting distant celestial bodies. Renowned accounts of angel-shaped objects in space dates back to the early days of human spaceflight. During various space missions, astronauts reported witnessing luminous figures with wings resembling those of angels hovering outside their spacecraft, along with unidentified objects. These celestial visitors, described as ethereal and otherworldly, captivated the imaginations of the astronauts and left an indelible impression on their psyches. In subsequent missions, including those of the Apollo program and the Space Shuttle era, sightings of angel-shaped objects became increasingly common. Astronauts aboard the Apollo spacecraft reported encountering celestial beings with wings of light while orbiting the Moon, while Space Shuttle crews observed similar phenomena during their missions in low Earth orbit. One of the most intriguing aspects of these sightings is their consistency across different missions and space agencies. Experienced astronauts, rigorously trained professionals who undergo extensive psychological screening, have independently reported encountering angel-shaped objects in space, lending credibility to the notion that something extraordinary is indeed occurring in the depths of the cosmos. While skeptics may attempt to explain away these sightings as mere tricks of the mind or optical illusions, the credibility of the witnesses and the corroborating evidence from multiple missions suggest otherwise. Astronauts, equipped with highly advanced training and technology, are unlikely to mistake cosmic phenomena for celestial beings, leading many to believe that the sightings of angel-shaped objects are genuine and worthy of further investigation. In the realm of scientific inquiry, researchers have proposed various theories to explain the sightings of angel-shaped objects in space. Some suggest that these phenomena may be linked to the natural occurrence of cosmic rays interacting with the Earth's atmosphere, creating fleeting illusions that appear to take on the form of celestial beings. Others speculate that the sightings may be the result of electromagnetic phenomena or atmospheric anomalies that occur under specific conditions in space. However, these scientific explanations fail to account for the consistency and credibility of the reports from experienced astronauts who have encountered angel-shaped objects firsthand. Many astronauts describe these celestial beings as sentient entities, capable of communicating telepathically and emanating a sense of peace and tranquility that transcends the confines of human understanding. In the realm of spirituality and metaphysics, the sightings of angel-shaped objects in space take on a deeper significance. Some interpret these celestial encounters as evidence of a higher intelligence or cosmic consciousness that permeates the universe, manifesting itself in the form of angelic beings to guide and protect humanity on its journey through the cosmos. Regardless of the interpretations offered, one thing remains clear. The sightings of angel-shaped objects in space represent a profound and mysterious aspect of the human experience. Whether viewed through the lens of science, spirituality, or the uncharted territories of the human psyche, these celestial encounters inspire a sense of wonder and awe, inviting contemplation of humanity's place in the vast and mysterious cosmos. The Baltic Sea anomaly has intrigued scientists, researchers, and the general public since its discovery in June 2011. Located in the depths of the northern Baltic Sea, this mysterious object has sparked numerous theories about its origin and nature. Recently, the OceanX diving team released a new photo that adds a fascinating twist to this mystery. The image shows a thick outer layer on the anomaly that appears to have been burned. Subsequent tests have revealed that this layer is composed of burnt biological material. This finding adds a new dimension to the mystery, suggesting that the object has undergone some form of intense heat or combustion. Tests conducted on samples from the burnt layer revealed that it is composed of biological material. This discovery is particularly intriguing, as it raises questions about the nature of the object and the processes that led to the burning of organic matter. The presence of burnt biological material suggests that the anomaly may have been exposed to extreme heat, possibly from an impact event. Several potential explanations for the Baltic Sea anomaly and its burnt outer layer have emerged, each with its own implications and challenges. The most speculative and exciting theory is that the Baltic Sea anomaly is an extraterrestrial artifact. Proponents of this idea suggest that the object could be a crashed spacecraft or a probe from an advanced alien civilization. The burnt biological material might be remnants of extraterrestrial life forms or the result of the object's entry into the Earth's atmosphere, causing it to burn upon impact. The discovery of the burnt outer layer on the Baltic Sea anomaly has significant scientific and cultural implications. Scientifically, it opens new avenues of research into the anomaly's origin and composition. Understanding the nature of the burnt biological material and the processes that caused the burning could provide critical insights into the anomaly and the broader geological and biological processes at play in the Baltic Sea. Several pieces of evidence support the theory that the Baltic Sea anomaly crashed onto the seafloor. The trail mark itself is a primary indicator. Its straight and continuous nature suggests a high-energy event that displaced the sediment on the seafloor, which is consistent with an impact or crash. The trail behind the anomaly is relatively straight and consistent in width, which could indicate that the object was traveling at a significant speed before coming to a halt. The displaced sediment along the trail suggests that the object had sufficient mass and momentum to create such a mark. If the object had merely drifted or settled gently onto the seabed, it would not have left such a distinct trail. The physical characteristics of the anomaly also support the crash theory. The object's large circular shape and its distinct edges suggest it could be a solid, durable structure capable of withstanding significant impact. Additionally, the object appears to be partially buried in the seabed, which could be a result of the forceful impact driving it into the sediment. The diving team from OceanX has been extensively exploring the ocean and has come across numerous mysterious discoveries, and one of their most intriguing findings is the Baltic Sea anomaly, a fascinating object resting on the seabed. This mysterious structure has attracted significant attention due to its unusual appearance, resembling a disc-shaped aircraft. The online community has been abuzz with speculation, suggesting that the diving team may have stumbled upon an advanced aerial vehicle. With a sizable diameter of 60 meters, the Baltic Sea anomaly resides in the depths of the northern Baltic Sea. This remarkable discovery was made by Peter Lindberg, Dennis Asberg, and their esteemed Swedish diving team, known as Ocean X, in June of 2011. The Baltic Sea anomaly has become a subject of great interest, captivating the imagination of both experts and enthusiasts alike. Its peculiar shape and placement have sparked discussions about its origins and purpose. Some theories propose that it could be a remnant of an ancient civilization, while others speculate about its potential advanced connection. Despite the absence of conclusive evidence, the presence of such a distinct and mysterious structure continues to intrigue researchers and fuel further exploration. The expeditionary team made an astonishing discovery during their mission to locate an ancient shipwreck. While passing over the unknown object, they detected a captivating reading that immediately caught their attention. According to the findings of Ocean X, this strange anomaly exhibits an intriguing thickness, measuring approximately 3 to 4 meters, with a surprisingly extensive diameter of around 60 meters. Remarkably, the object rests upon a robust pillar-like structure, soaring to an impressive height of about 8 meters. It lies submerged between depths of 85 to 90 meters, beneath an area characterized by extremely poor visibility, which poses a significant challenge for the team as they attempt to observe their surroundings. Interestingly, the team encountered a series of equipment malfunctions during their initial encounter with the anomaly, but these malfunctions inexplicably ceased as soon as they moved past the mysterious object. At first, the team dismissed this as mere coincidence. However, when they retraced their steps and encountered the same equipment issues again, they began to entertain the notion that the object emits some kind of electromagnetic field. In order to test this hypothesis, the team conducted multiple experiments, and astonishingly, they consistently experienced equipment failure whenever they approached the anomaly. The team's fascinating findings have sparked a multitude of questions and speculations. Their exploration and analysis of the mysterious object, coupled with the data they have collected, have opened up new avenues of investigation in uncovering the true nature and significance of this captivating discovery. According to the account of experienced diver Stefan Hogeborn, he encountered a truly remarkable and unexplainable phenomenon during one of his dives. He noted that when he and his team came into close proximity to a certain object underwater, all their electronic devices, including a satellite phone, inexplicably ceased to function. This bizarre occurrence left them perplexed and intrigued. However, as they gradually distanced themselves from the object, approximately 200 meters away, their devices miraculously started working again, as if the interference had magically vanished. Astonishingly, once they returned above the mysterious object, their electronic devices once again malfunctioned, leaving them astounded at the inexplicable nature of this event. The photographs were sent to various universities for analysis, and their consensus was that the object in question was a result of natural formation. However, the divers who encountered the object strongly dispute this conclusion. They argue that natural formations lack the capability to deactivate electrical equipment or exhibit a distinct disc-like shape. These divers question the notion that the object could be simply attributed to the forces of nature alone. Dennis Asberg, in collaboration with the diving team from Ocean X, recently made a groundbreaking revelation by sharing an extraordinary photograph of the mysterious anomaly. This captivating image, which has never been observed before, has aroused great curiosity and intrigue among experts and enthusiasts alike. According to his statement, a photograph of the Baltic Sea anomaly, which had never been seen before, was captured in 2012. The image depicts a distinct triangular shape with a noticeable opening. However, due to its subtle appearance, the speaker provided a modified version of the picture, highlighted with a red line. This highlighting allows for a clearer observation of the sediment-covered plate and the presence of burnt organic material beneath it. It is important to note that the photograph was taken from the side of the mysterious object. According to individuals who have observed the image, the longer you gaze at it, the more distinct features become apparent. They have noticed the presence of defined edges and openings that directly penetrate the structure, which was initially described during the team's initial exploration. One user remarked that it resembles debris from the ocean, with coral growth accumulated on its surface. This perpendicular perspective grants us a more comprehensive view of the object, allowing us to discern a solid entity hidden beneath the coral. Upon the initial identification of the peculiar item, the team found themselves filled with a multitude of inquiries, urging them to delve deeper into the mystery. However, their thorough investigation only served to raise additional pressing questions in their minds. As the skilled divers carefully approached the mysterious anomaly, their sharp eyes caught sight of an intriguing sight, a seemingly darkened staircase extending invitingly into the heart of the object. Notably, recognizing the need for scientific analysis, they meticulously collected samples, hoping to unravel the mystery through a detailed examination of its composition. After subjecting the samples to the discerning eyes of expert researcher Steve Weiner, an astonishing revelation came to light. The object at hand was not a mere natural geological formation, but rather a carefully crafted assemblage of metals that do not exist in the realm of nature. The research team from Ocean X reported their extraordinary findings during their deep-sea exploration. In the profound darkness of the ocean depths, they stumbled upon an awe-inspiring structure of monumental proportions. To put it into perspective, they compared its immense size to that of a commercial passenger aircraft. Navigating through such pitch-black conditions presented them with considerable challenges. What further fascinated the team was the presence of a distinctive trail trailing behind the object, which was corroborated by sonar imagery. This intriguing observation has sparked speculation that the colossal structure may have crashed and skidded along the ocean floor. The divers further uncovered visible skid marks in the vicinity, adding to the evidence. Moreover, the researchers were astounded by the peculiar carvings adorning the surface of the object. These markings seemed unnatural, deviating from what is typically seen in natural formations. The wreckage rests at an approximate depth of 90 meters, further complicating efforts to capture clear footage or photographs of the site due to the murky waters. Delving into the depths of this extraordinary discovery, the comprehensive exploration sheds light on the sheer magnitude of this underwater structure. It prompts us to contemplate its origin, the mysteries it may hold, and the possibility of its tumultuous journey beneath the waves. The research team returned to the site once again, this time employing a remotely operated vehicle as part of their extensive investigation. Upon approaching the anomaly at a distance of just a few meters, they encountered a perplexing issue. The remotely operated vehicle's compass began to malfunction erratically. Interestingly, this was not the first instance of such an occurrence during their initial encounter with the mysterious anomaly. 2 mysterious pyramids found beneath the Atlantic Ocean. In an era where satellite technology allows us to explore the far reaches of our planet and beyond, new discoveries continue to challenge our understanding of Earth's history and geography. One such recent and intriguing discovery involves a space satellite capturing images of 2 large structures resembling pyramids beneath the Atlantic Ocean, approximately 124 miles or 200 kilometers from New York. The discovery of the underwater pyramids was made possible by advanced satellite imaging technology capable of penetrating oceanic depths and capturing high-resolution images of the seabed. The satellite images revealed 2 distinct pyramid-like structures situated relatively close to each other, deep beneath the Atlantic Ocean. These structures appear to have geometric shapes and sharp angles that are unusual for natural formations, leading to widespread speculation about their origins. Using satellite imagery, it is estimated that the 2 objects are hundreds of meters in height, roughly the same size as the Great Pyramid, the largest of the 3 pyramids at the Giza complex, with an average height of 481 feet, or 147 meters. Strangely, the 2 objects appear to be nearly identical. Some users quickly observed that they are located in a straight line with both the well-known Pyramid of the Sun in Mexico and the Great Pyramid of Giza. Some have suggested that historical monuments all across the world correspond as a result of this. It's difficult to determine what this object is and why it's there, because no investigations have been conducted, and there are only a few satellite photographs to go by. However, as underwater archaeologists have noted, as technology advances, it's very likely that discoveries like these will continue to be made, and that many ancient civilizations may have vanished into the depths and never to be seen again. There are several potential explanations for the presence of pyramid-like structures beneath the Atlantic Ocean, ranging from natural geological formations to remnants of ancient civilizations. One possibility is that these pyramid-like structures are natural geological formations. Underwater volcanic activity, tectonic movements, and sediment deposition can create unusual and complex shapes on the ocean floor.